I'd like to call this meeting of the Sterling Heights City Council to order. If you would, please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, please bless our elected officials. Grant them courage and wisdom to do what is right for all citizens. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ms. Riska. Can we please have the roll call?
Mayor Taylor.
Here.
Mrs. Sarowski.
Here.
Mr. Majek.
Here.
Mr. Radke.
Present.
Mrs. Schmidt.
Present.
Mr. Yanas.
Here.
Mayor Crowe.
Present.
Thank you, Council. We need approval of the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda as presented. Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion?
Mayor Taylor,
Mrs. Schmidt.
I would like to pull item J off the consent agenda and make it item 10B, please.
All right, item J on the consent agenda will become consideration item 10B. Is there any other discussion? With no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. First item on our agenda tonight is a report from our city manager, Mark Vanderpool. Mr. Vanderpool.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to begin with a couple of very special presentations. First, as you know, periodically, every 4 years actually, the city conducts a statistically valid survey. We survey our residents. We actually have a firm that does that. And it's basically our scorecard to see how we're doing with all of our service delivery across all disciplines: police, fire, code enforcement, parks and recreation, library, and so on. And so over the summer, we completed the survey. The last time we did it was back in 2021. And we're able to get all the results tabulated, get it scheduled, and we're happy to have a representative here to provide the highlights. The company that does it is the ETC Institute, based out of Kansas. They are a premier entity founded in 1982, and this is their sole mission. They conduct these statistically valid surveys all across the country. And just over the past 5 years, they've done 1,000 of them, so you can imagine since 1982. So with us this evening is the ETC Institute Director of Community Outreach, Jason Murado, who's going to present the results. And you may remember, Jason, he was with us 4 years ago presenting the results of the last survey. So they have a great baseline of our previous surveys to see where we need to improve a bit and where we're excelling.
Great, thank you. Good evening. It's great to be here again in Sterling Heights. My name is Jason Murado. I'm the Director of Community Research at ETC Institute, and we're a marketing research firm that specializes in conducting community surveys for local governments. And we just, as Mark said, this past summer, for the third time, conducted a community survey for the city of Sterling Heights. The most recent one was in 2021, and then the first one was in 2017. So today I'm going to walk through the key findings from the survey. I just have a little background about ETC Institute. We're a national leader in providing market research for local governments. We've been doing this type of work for over 40 years, and in the last 10 years alone, we've conducted surveys in more than 1,000 communities across the country. So this is the type of work that we specialize in. So there are several reasons to conduct a survey like this. One is to get an objective assessment of how satisfied residents are with major city services, and to determine what residents feel are the top priorities for the community. We're also able to measure trends from your previous surveys. A lot of the questions on this year's survey were the same ones we asked before, and then we're also able to compare your results with other communities across the country. So this survey was 7 pages long. It's a fairly lengthy survey. On average, it takes residents 15 to 20 minutes to complete the survey. The survey was administered by a combination of mail and online to randomly selected households throughout the city. We received 522 completed surveys. Our goal was to get to 500, so we reached that. And the results of the 522 surveys at the 95% level of confidence has a margin of error of plus or minus 4.3%. Essentially, that means that if we conducted this survey the same way 100 times, 95 times the results would be plus or minus 4.3% from what we're reporting. So the results are never perfect, even for a statistically valid survey, but the margin of error is small. And we also, as we were administering the survey, made sure that the demographics of survey respondents reflect the actual population of the city. So here's what we learned from the survey. We found that residents have a very positive perception of the city of Sterling Heights. 83% of respondents are satisfied with Sterling Heights as a place to live, compared to only 5% who are dissatisfied. And 78% of respondents are satisfied with Sterling Heights as a place to raise children, compared to only 6% who are dissatisfied. We also found that satisfaction with city services is much higher in Sterling Heights than other cities. Sterling Heights rated above the U.S. average in 39 out of the 41 areas that we compared. And in most areas, Sterling Heights rated significantly higher. We'll look at this in more detail in a little bit, but there are a couple of areas I especially wanted to point out. One is that satisfaction with the overall quality of city services rated 20 percentage points above the U.S. average. And that's one of the most important questions on the survey, because they were asking residents to take into account all of the services that you're providing and really give an overall satisfaction rating for how well you're doing. And then another area that really stood out is that satisfaction with the overall value received for taxes and fees rated 21 percentage points above the U.S. average. So here's some of the top priorities: refuse, recycling, and yard waste removal, traffic and congestion, enforcement of local traffic laws, visibility of police in neighborhoods, enforcing the cleanup of litter and debris on residential property, maintenance of neighborhood streets, and enforcing the mowing and trimming of grass and weeds on residential property. So first, we'll look at some general perceptions residents have of the city. This was the very first question on the survey. We asked respondents to rate the perception of the city in a number of different ways. So you can see the dark blue are those who are very satisfied, light blue is satisfied, gray is neutral, and we interpret neutral as average or meeting expectations. It's a rating of a 3 on a 5-point scale. And then the pink are those who are dissatisfied or very dissatisfied. So overall, the positives far outweigh the negative. If you look at the top of the chart, 83% of respondents rated Sterling Heights as, or they're either very satisfied or satisfied with Sterling Heights as a place to live. And if you look at the second row down, 78% of respondents are either very satisfied or satisfied with Sterling Heights as a place to raise children. So here we have a map of the city, and we broke the results out here by census block group. So this tells us if residents in different parts of the city rate services differently or have different perceptions of the city. This shows how residents feel about Sterling Heights as a place to live. You can see the entire map is blue, which tells us that residents in all parts of the city are satisfied with Sterling Heights as a place to live. And there's quite a few areas in dark blue, which is the highest possible rating. So very, very positive ratings, though, throughout the city. Here we ask residents how safe they feel in various situations. You can see very few residents feel unsafe in Sterling Heights. Most residents feel safe in their neighborhood, both during the day and at night, as well as in parks, and also in commercial and retail areas, both during the day as well as at night. We also asked respondents, those who have contacted the city in the past 12 months, to rate their interactions with city employees. And you can see these results are very positive. Most respondents gave positive ratings to city employees being courteous and polite. Most felt that city employees gave prompt, accurate, and complete answers to questions. Most felt that city employees did what they said they would do in a timely manner. And most also felt that city employees helped resolve the respondent's issue to their level of satisfaction. The other thing to keep in mind here is a lot of these people contacted the city because they had a concern or an issue or complaint. So these are especially impressive numbers considering that. So we also found that satisfaction with city services is much higher in Sterling Heights than other communities. Sterling Heights rates above the U.S. average in 39 out of the 41 areas that we compared, and that includes 31 areas where the ratings are significantly higher. So in other words, 5% or more above the U.S. average. And then Sterling Heights rates above the regional average in 33 out of 41 areas, significantly higher in 28 of those areas. So as we go through these next few charts, the dark blue line are Sterling Heights residents who are either very satisfied or satisfied. The light blue are the satisfaction ratings for residents in the north central region. So that includes Michigan as well as nearby states. And then the gray bar are the satisfaction ratings for residents from all across the U.S. As we go through these, I put blue arrows by the places where Sterling Heights rates significantly higher than both the regional and national average. There aren't any red arrows in this, but if there were, those would be areas where your rate is significantly lower than both the regional and national average. So this first chart is for perceptions of the city. If you look at the top of the chart, you can see over 80% of respondents are either very satisfied or satisfied with Sterling Heights as a place to live. And you can see the national average is just under 50%. Sterling Heights also rates much higher than other cities as a place to raise children. If you look at that fourth row down, overall quality of city services, again, that's one of the most important questions on the survey. And you can see that 69% of respondents are either very satisfied or satisfied with the overall quality of city services. And the regional and national average, you can see, are just under 50%. And then if you look at the row below that, value received for taxes and fees, Sterling Heights received a 54% satisfaction rating, which might seem like a low number, but you can see the regional and national average are just barely above 30%. Here are comparisons for public safety. You can see in most areas, Sterling Heights rates significantly higher than other communities. A few of the areas that stand out here are the overall quality of local fire protection, overall quality of EMS, and overall quality of police protection. There are a few areas towards the bottom: animal control, enforcing traffic laws, visibility of police in neighborhoods and retail areas. Those ratings aren't bad, but they're just more on par with other communities. And then we compare how safe residents feel in different situations. You can see Sterling Heights rates much other than other cities when it comes to how safe residents feel in their neighborhood during the day, as well as at night, and also in city parks and recreation facilities. Here we have comparisons for code enforcement. You can see there are several areas where the ratings are similar to other communities, a couple of areas that do rate much higher, and that includes mowing grass and weeds on residential property and the exterior maintenance of residential property. And then here are different aspects of maintenance. You can see in most of these areas, Sterling Heights rates much higher than other cities. You can see this includes a wide variety of services, everything from snow removal, maintaining city buildings, cleanliness of streets and other public areas, maintenance of major city streets. There are 3 areas where the ratings are still good, but not quite as high as some of the other areas. That includes street lighting, maintaining neighborhood streets, and then traffic flow. And then here are comparisons for city leadership and communication. You can see in most of these areas, Sterling Heights rates much higher than other cities. That includes the availability of information about programs and services, efforts to keep residents informed about local issues, the quality of the city's website, and then the overall quality of leadership that's provided by the city. So we also compared these results to previous years. Overall, the satisfaction ratings are down this year from where they were in 2021, but that's a trend we've seen all over the country, so it's not a surprise. Now, here's some of the areas that had among the biggest increases and decreases in satisfaction since 2021. Some of the biggest increases include library programs for children, library reference services, city employees providing prompt, accurate, and complete answers to questions has had an improvement since the last survey. And then Sterling Fest Art and Music Fair. Some of the bigger decreases since the last survey include the quality of animal control, value received for tax dollars and fees. Now, that's an area that's gone down all over the country over the last few years. You still were more than 20 percentage points above the U.S. average, so the ratings are down there, but they're still good. And then other areas that have had a bigger decrease since the last survey were the maintenance of stormwater drainage system, and then mowing of grass and weeds on commercial properties. So now we'll look at top priorities. This is something we call the important satisfaction analysis, and this is based on 2 different types of data. First, we ask residents how satisfied they are with services. Then we ask which services should be the most important for city leaders to focus on over the next couple of years. So the idea behind this is those areas that have a combination of lower satisfaction ratings but at the same time are rated as the most important are the areas we identify as the top priorities. So this first table focuses on maintenance. You can see the top 2 priorities are refuse, recycling, and yard waste removal, followed by overall traffic flow and congestion. The next top priorities, which are in the yellow, are maintaining neighborhood streets and the stormwater drainage system. When it comes to public safety, the top priorities are the enforcement of local traffic laws, visibility of police in neighborhoods, and then just overall efforts to prevent crime. Now, the satisfaction ratings were high when it came to the overall efforts to prevent crime, but the reason our rate's high here is because it's still an area that residents rated as a high priority. This is for parks and recreation city events. Now, you can see there's nothing here in pink or yellow. And the reason for that is that the satisfaction ratings really are high across the board when it comes to parks and recreation, city events. But having said that, the top priorities are the biking and hiking trail system, and then park amenities. And then when it comes to code enforcement, the top priorities are enforcing the cleanup of litter and debris on residential property, and then enforcing mowing and trimming of grass and weeds on residential property. And then when it comes to library services, you can see this is all in green as well. Just like the parks and recreation and special events, the satisfaction ratings really were very high across the board. But the top priorities among this list are programs for teens and programs for children. So that's everything that I had. Just a quick recap. We saw that residents have a positive perception of the city of Sterling Heights. There's a lot of examples of that throughout the reports, but a couple of the areas that really stood out were the high ratings for Sterling Heights as a place to live and as a place to raise children. Satisfaction with city services is much higher in Sterling Heights and other cities. There's a lot of examples of that as well, but a couple of areas I especially wanted to point out were the overall quality of city services and value received for taxes and fees. And then the top priorities, and this is based on the important satisfaction analysis slides we just looked at, refuse, recycling, and yard waste removal, traffic and congestion, enforcing traffic laws, visibility of police in neighborhoods, enforcing the cleanup of litter and debris on residential property, maintaining neighborhood streets, and then enforcing mowing and trimming of grass and weeds on residential property. So that is everything that I had. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Council, any questions, comments?
Mayor Taylor,
Mrs. Sarowski.
just very briefly, thank you for doing this survey. This is, you never know exactly how the residents feel. You sometimes get a small group of them telling you what they think, but to have the overall city surveyed scientifically and accurately is wonderful for us, so I really appreciate it, and thank you. That's it.
All right, thank you, Ms. Sarowski. Council, anyone else? If not, thank you. We appreciate your work on this and the presentation tonight.
Okay,
Always
great.
interesting. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
And Mayor, just a closing comment on the survey. In terms of the next step, we will get the complete report out to City Council in your Thursday packet this week. That'll allow you some time to fully digest it. And then we'll also have this scheduled, as you know, at your strategic planning session. And the reason that's important is because we use this survey to keep building on our success in the spirit of continuous improvement. And you heard that there are some areas that we can improve on, traffic enforcement, neighborhood policing, and so on, and in some areas in code enforcement. So you're going to hear about the action plan at strategic planning to address some of those areas, and then we'll have time to discuss any other feedback City Council has. Thank you. And moving on, Mayor, we have one more presentation item and then just a couple of housekeeping updates. But as you know, Mayor Pro Tem Sarowski requested a month or so ago that we provide an update on the Chaldean Community Foundation Phase 2 project. And our Economic Development Advisor, Luke Bonner, is here this evening to explain where we're at with that important project. And while we have Mr. Bonner, he's also going to provide an update, I think, starting first with Lakeside. Since there's still a lot of activity going on behind the scenes with Lakeside, we want to make sure that everyone's aware of the latest. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vanderpool. Good evening, Mayor Taylor, members of council. First, I'd like to start with a brief update on Lakeside. This is the rendering that was part of the PUD approval in 2024. We currently have a brownfield plan, a brownfield tax increment finance plan in review between the city and the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. That is the primary incentive that was outlined in the MOU from 2022. The brownfield plan contemplates a phase one of the project. So if you look at the site plan that I have in front of you, the phase one encompasses essentially all of the highlighted building outlines on the plan. Everything shaded in white would be a future phase of the project. So this first phase is about 1,500 units overall, 150,000 square feet of retail space. And then the future phases include the additional residential units, which is the total of 2,800, a hotel and potential office user as well. The future phase is also contingent primarily on the passing of the new transformational brownfield bill, which was passed by the Senate last week. Mr. Vanderpool was present in Lansing to testify in support of that, as were other municipalities and economic developers in the state of Michigan. It currently is in the House, and we don't actually anticipate a potential updated legislation on the brownfield program until maybe the second quarter of next year. So timeline-wise, and kind of what's been happening, we did have a meeting December 2nd with the Lakeside Corridor Improvement Authority, or the Lakeside City Center District Authority, to give them an update on current progress. That Corridor Improvement Authority will be approving a development plan and TIF plan by the end of the first quarter of next year. We had a meeting in early November with the Brownfield Development Authority, also updating them on what's going on with the legislation, what's going on in this current phase, and the current review of the Brownfield plan. I mentioned the plan is in review by the city and the MEDC. We anticipate mid to late January, the Brownfield Board will convene to review and potentially adopt that plan and make recommendation to City Council. And right now, tentatively, we're looking at the second City Council meeting in February. We'll have an opportunity to review the plan for consideration. If all goes well, still looking at a groundbreaking of third quarter or fourth quarter of 2026 from a demolition standpoint. As I mentioned, future phases are contingent upon the amended brownfield legislation on the transformation of brownfield aspect of that, which actually increases the total cap projects that the state can approve under that program. So that's an update on Lakeside. Working on it diligently every day with the internal city team and the MEDC now at this point to bring something forward in February, hopefully. Now I'll turn my attention to the Chaldean Community Foundation project. I'll start with Project 1, Tigers Tower. So as of this week, 40 units are rented in the first project. They're expected that the building will be fully leased by the end of spring 2026. They're currently negotiating terms with a pharmacy, urgent care, and potential cafe marketplace for the retail space. The project overall has gone very well. I think the building department in particular said that this is some of the best construction they've seen on any project, which I think is great. The units are beautiful, and it is a mixed-use project, which we had envisioned as part of the corridor, the North Van Dyke Avenue Corridor Improvement Authority. In terms of Project 2, with the Grillo property, that PUD and purchase agreement was approved last August. It's a proposed $27 million, 80-unit mixed income development, affordable housing development. Since the approval of the PUD and the purchase agreement, they've submitted approximately 29 deliverables to MISTA. And on November 20th of last year, as part of the first phase of the LIHTC request, they have done a number of soil borings to look at the cut and fill option. It's something that we've talked at length about, needed and required for the development of that property. They did receive additional inducement approval from MISTA in February of this year. In July this year, the city approved a PUD extension, which gives them until August 2026 to continue doing their due diligence and completing all of the requirements as outlined in the purchase agreement. And as of November, the city engineering team is still working with CCF's engineers and trying to figure out what this cut and fill potential solution is going to be. So we said at the outset, this was a very challenged site, very difficult site to develop. We understood that. There is still a number of things that need to be performed as far as the purchase agreement goes in order for them to close. But this is a project I think that'll continue to take time to investigate some of these site issues. The first project started in 2015 and broke ground in 2022. I think there are a lot of lessons learned in terms of dealing with, some of the floodplain issues and development issues and getting MISTA comfortable with that. So I don't think it'll quite take 7 years to get to a potential development phase, but it will take some additional time to fully understand what we're dealing with here before something can move towards development. And that includes all of their additional approvals from MISTA for their low-income housing tax credits, their MISTA financing, and all of their engineering solutions as well.
Mayor, I'm not sure if there's any questions from you or the council. If not, I can move on to the next topic.
Sure, council, any questions on either Lakeside or the Grillo property, Chaldean Community Foundation projects? Mrs. Sarowski.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. Just a couple of questions. With getting this property evaluated and for the state, has there been a significant or any cost to the city? What has that cost to the city been? Do you know?
There's been no
Through the
additional.
chair to Mr. Bonner, thank you.
There's been no additional cost to the city up until this point.
Appreciate that, okay. And I'm going to hold off on any other questions for now, but thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Sarowski. Council, anyone else? Mrs. Zarko.
I just have comments. During this review process, we did have somebody from MML come in to see how the project was going to be laid out. And at that time, Mr. Vanderpool and myself were able to go into, is Tigris one? Yes. I have to say, it's beautiful. And I have to agree, it was constructed well, and it's someplace that you would want a family member to live, because that's how nice it was. So I'm just saying that what they've done with the first project is really nice. Nothing further.
Thank you, Ms. Zarko. Council, anyone else? Not, thank you, Mr. Bonner, for being here. Appreciate the updates, as always.
Thank you.
See you.
And Mayor, just a couple concluding items. Just a reminder for the audience members, our city offices will be closed on Wednesday and Thursday of Christmas week, next week, and then the same Wednesday and Thursday following week. However, a refuse collection will only be impacted. There'll be no refuse collection on Christmas Day or New Year's Day. So thus, it will be collected the following Friday, and Fridays will be collected on Saturday. So please keep that in mind. Also, our tree recycling program, now we have to start thinking about that. So that begins on January 2nd. Be reminded you can set your trees out at the curb until February 2nd. So between January 2nd and February 2nd to have the trees recycled. So go to our website if you'd like more information. And lastly, this is always very popular, on Tuesday, December 23rd, a week from today, from 5:30 to 9 p.m., the police department will be hosting their community outreach and resident engagement program. And you can skate with our police officers. There'll be donuts, hot chocolate, photo opportunities, and more. Again, that's December 23rd, next Tuesday, 5:30 to 9 at our ice rink. That concludes my report. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Vanderpool. We do have another presentation tonight, and that's a swearing-in ceremony for 2 new Sterling Heights police officers. For that presentation, I'll invite up our police chief, Andrew Satterfield. Chief Satterfield.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Taylor, honorable council members, City Manager Vanderpool, and City Attorney Kozubski. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to swear in and introduce you to our 2 newest police officers joining the department. Please stand. I'm glad the city survey was presented tonight so they can see, we've all been saying how great this city is, and now they can see on paper and the stats that it really is outstanding. So here we have Officer Taylor Wolf. Officer Wolf graduated from Anchor Bay High School. She has her bachelor's degree from Western Michigan University. She spent time as a New Baltimore police cadet. She graduated last week from the Macomb Police Academy, where she was nominated by Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards for her outstanding performance, and she was also second in her class in academics. Next, Officer Ryan Chase. Officer Chase graduated from Dakota High School. He received his associate's degree from Macomb Community College in 2016. He spent time with the Oakland County Sheriff's Department and then the Holly Police Department for several years before he joined the Marines and proudly served our country from 2020 to 2025. Ryan comes from a long family of law enforcement officers. I just found out tonight that his great-grandfather was a police officer, his grandfather, his father is retired as a lieutenant from Auburn Hills Police Department, and his uncle I served with at the Troy Police Department is also here, was a lieutenant from Troy PD, and then he is joining his brother, his younger brother Corey, here in Sterling Heights, who is a police officer here in Sterling. So now we will conduct the swearing-in ceremony. Please raise your right hands and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Ryan Chase,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that of the state of Michigan,
and that of the state of Michigan,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of police officer
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of police officer
in and for the city of Sterling Heights,
in and for the city of Sterling Heights,
and that I will strive to maintain the highest standards of this department
and I will strive to maintain the highest standards of this department
to the best of my knowledge and abilities.
to the best of my knowledge and abilities.
Congratulations. I'd now like to invite their family that will be pinning the badges on for them.
Wow,
Officer Wolf, she'll be having her badge pinned on by her father, Matthew Wolf. Officer Chase is having his badge pinned on by his father, retired Lieutenant Dave Chase, and his brother, Corey Chase. Would you guys like to say a few words to council?
Good evening, council. I just want to say thank you, and I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, council. Just want to say I'm very thankful for this opportunity, and I'm very excited to begin my career in the city of Sterling Heights. Thank you.
I also want to thank Mr. Mayor and City Council for your continued leadership and support of our police department, and I invite you down to congratulate them yourself if you'd like.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Congratulations and welcome. Yes, congratulations. You're so welcome. Thank you. Yes.
Thanks, Chief.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Welcome aboard, Ryan. Do you got any more relatives that want to come and join us?
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Chief, and welcome aboard to our two new officers. I'll open it up to the council for anyone with comments. And we'll start with our Mayor Pro Tem, Liz Sarowski.
Thank you, Mayor. We're laughing because I always talk first when there's a police officer, and the reason is, or at least I try to. The reason is because my son is a Marine currently, and his MOS is a military police officer, so I have a little bit of an affinity to what you guys do. A little bit. So I wanted to welcome you both. Thank you for being here. We are very, very proud of our police department. This is a city that welcomes their officers. I mean, and the officers support each other. Look at what you've got behind you. That's amazing to see all these officers here for you. You've got command officers as well as police officers, and it's just a wonderful department that works very hard to provide excellence. And I want to just thank you for being here, as I said, welcome you, let you know that we will do our very best to keep you safe, give you the tools that you need, and family. You know, as a mom of a Marine, I kind of know a little bit of the fear and the guts it takes to kind of just go through a day and just trust that life will be good. Thank you for giving us and allowing us to have your family members work for us, because we couldn't be the city that we are without them and without your grace and your gift to us. So we thank you as well. And that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Sarowski. Council, Mrs. Schmidt.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. I would like to welcome you both to the family. We are a family here in Sterling Heights. We work as a team, and that includes our residents. Our residents support you. They support you in the fire department, first responders, second to none. So just know that you have the entire community supporting you and have your back. The men and women of our department are the best. And it's funny, another set of brothers. So it's kind of a trend. I don't think we've had a brother and a sister before, but we've had quite a few brother pairs, and I think that's pretty cool. It speaks volumes for not only our department, but for you guys as a family. So welcome once again, and please, please, please stay safe out there. Nothing further.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Schmidt. Mr. Radke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, welcome to Sterling Heights. I'm sure you're going to have a very long career here. We are lucky to have the support of our residents for our police department. The survey that you had to sit through, which was very informative, I'm sure, really speaks to their concerns, but also the things that they take very seriously, which is the safety of our community. So I'm going to wish you luck. I want you to stay safe. I want you to know that we're 100% behind you. We're going to hold you to a very high standard, because as you saw from the survey, the residents hold us to a very high standard. So if you need anything, we're here. We want you to come and see us. If there's anything we can provide you, we want to do that. We want you to stay safe, and we want you to have a long and fruitful career here. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Radke. Council, anyone else to my left? I'll just go right down the line.
Okay,
sure.
Yeah, welcome to Sterling Heights. Thank you for choosing a career in public service and choosing to protect us. Appreciate that very much. To your parents, the parents and the other brother, I'm sure you're very proud. We're so proud that you chose this. And Ryan, thank you for your years of service in the Marines. So thank you very much.
Mr. Yannis.
Thank you. I'll keep it short. Congratulations, guys, and welcome to the Sterling Heights family, Sterling Heights Police Department. Obviously, I think you know our department by reputation is one of the best in the state. There's no doubt about it, and you can tell by the people you work with, and Officer Chase, since you have a brother that works here, and you know what the reputation is. So I'm just going to say congratulations. I hope you have a wonderful 25 years. It goes by really fast, and just stay safe out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yannis. Ms. Sarko.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. First of all, welcome to the Sterling Heights family. We're just as dysfunctional as any other family out there, so be prepared. But we certainly do take care of our police and fire. But I want to thank you for choosing Sterling Heights, because we made a promise to the residents with our Safe Street millage that we would staff our police and fire departments. And because of that millage, we're able to hire police and fire whenever we need to, as long as we can find people. So, so we do appreciate you choosing Sterling Heights, because it helps us keep our promise. And the other thing, if either one of you have friends that you want to bring into Sterling Heights, we want you to bring them along. And because the Chase family certainly has a legacy in law enforcement, so congratulations to all of you. And Taylor, congratulations to you being second in your class. That's amazing. So welcome aboard, and we look forward to seeing you and staying safe. So thank you again for choosing us.
Okay, thank you. I thought you were going to say if you have any friends or other siblings. Do you have any other brothers that need a job? No?
You could have sisters.
Brothers, sisters, whatever.
We need some sisters.
No, look, I'm just going to say, as my colleagues did, congratulations, welcome. We're very proud to have you here. I think Councilman Yanez mentioned that you know us by reputation, obviously. Obviously, you do. But what I try to tell the new officers is that reputation is now yours to hold up, to continue to improve upon. We have a great showing of officers behind you. It is a brotherhood, a sisterhood here, I believe, and they take this job very seriously, and they take the reputation, they take the service to this community very seriously, and we would not have hired you if we did not think that you could live up to that. So Godspeed to both of you. Thank you to the families that are here. We know that they need your support more than probably anybody else for the job that they do. So as a couple of my colleagues said, thank you for sharing them with us. We're proud to have them, and we're proud that you're going to continue this incredible legacy that the Sterling Heights Police Department has earned and kept for many, many, many years. So one more big round of applause for these two new officers. Okay, Chief, you may dismiss them, unless you want to stay. Unless you want to stay and watch the. Now then, I'll tell you, the next item that's coming up is a Nice Neighbor Award, but I was talking to them earlier, and they said, we'd really like to just be moved to the back of the agenda, so we could stay here and just watch the entire council meeting. And I was inclined to do that, but I know my friend Jim, he can be sort of rowdy sometimes. So we're going to get you guys in and out just as soon as the chamber clears a little bit, so the family can go congratulate and celebrate with one another.
Okay, yeah.
But I am quite excited about this next presentation tonight. This next presentation is the Nice Neighbor Award presentation. And I just, before we get too deep into it, I just want to make sure Ms. Davis, Community Relations Director Melanie Davis, this was a nomination out of the Community Relations Department, is that right? Okay, and I did not contact you and ask you to do this. Right, I did not. I did not. But it gives me great honor to present the next Nice Neighbor Award, and that is for my dear friends at Summit Financial in Sterling Heights. So the Nice Neighbor Award honors homeowners, residents, and businesses that improve their neighbors' quality of life. And the Community Relations Department is proud to recognize Summit Financial Consulting for its work with the Gradient Gives Back Foundation to cover 6 months of mortgage payments for 3 local families. So what Summit Financial did is they invited these 3 families into their offices under the guise of an interview for the next steps in their financial assistance application. But in a playful twist, the families were notified that they would not be interviewed, but instead had been selected by Summit Financial to receive the mortgage relief, specifically 6 months of mortgage relief for these 3 families. Each of the 3 families shared how their financial struggles had spilled over into other areas of their lives, making it difficult to catch up on bills or handle unexpected expenses. And I think most folks out there understand that are either in that position or have definitely been in that position before. Bob and Ken Wink, co-founders of Summit Financial Consulting, and I'm going to throw in Jim Wink too, because I know Jim is integral to the operation. Jim was integral in my life growing up. Jim was my best friend in high school, and that's why I said I did not. I did not. Well, Jim's gone off the deep end a little bit, okay? You know, it's hard to keep up with Jim. It was hard back in high school. But he is one of my dearest friends, and I love him to death. So co-founders Bob Wink and his 2 sons, Ken Wink and Jim Wink, felt drawn to giving back to their communities and highlighted how financial strain can easily snowball. They feel honored to be able to offer families the opportunity to get back on their feet. Helping these families isn't just about financial support, they said. It's about giving them a moment to breathe, to feel seen, and to know their community is behind them, said Bob Wink of Summit Financial. Well, I'm here to tell you that we are behind you guys at Summit Financial in our community. A great business that's been in Sterling Heights. How many years now since you guys moved in? 23 years in business, and the last at least 10 or 12, it seems like, in Sterling Heights. They've been an incredible business. I've worked hand in hand with them in my career as well. I've had the opportunity to work with countless Summit Financial clients, and they just rave about Bob and Jim and Ken and the work that they do, not just the professionals that they are, but obviously what they do to give back to the community. So it is my honor to present the Wink family with this Nice Neighbor Award. So come on up, guys. I'll meet you down at the podium. Jimmy, thank you, sir. Appreciate it, guys. Who wants it? Which one?
Dad.
Dad's got it. And I welcome you to say a few words if you want. Well, no, you gotta say it.
First, we gotta do the picture, Mike.
You want a picture?
Get in the picture. Nice.
All right. I think
All right,
You want a speech?
just 1 minute, we'll keep it short. Thank you, Mayor Taylor, City Council, thank you so much for this recognition. On behalf of the Wink family and our family at Summit Financial, we're truly honored to be considered a good neighbor here in the wonderful city of Sterling Heights. Our business is at 19 and Shaner. We've been in business for 23 years. This was actually our best year ever at Summit Financial, so that was just a banner year. But you know, today we're here to sort of talk about, I guess, our side gig, you could call it, which is the nonprofit Summit Gives Back in partnership with Great Ink Gives Back. So as Mike said, we helped 3 families. One family was dealing with cancer, one family was dealing with the death of a family member, and the last was dealing with domestic abuse. We put it out there asking for applications for people that could use assistance, and there were over 30 families that applied that were about to lose their house. So we're thankful that we were able to help 3, but there's still a great need in the greater Macomb area. So in closing, just one last thing we'd like to share. Please, everyone listening, consider helping your neighbors this holiday season, whether it's just a toy for Toys for Tots, supporting a soup kitchen, helping a foster kid have a Christmas, or supporting Summit Gives Back so we can help more families avoid being homeless. We're just here to say it's totally worth it. We believe whatever you give, you'll get back. So thank you again, and God bless everyone. Merry Christmas.
All right, thank you, Ken. We do have a resolution, Mr. Majek.
Yeah, resolved to present Summit Financial Consulting with the Nice Neighbor Award for providing local families with a financial reprieve and enabling them to recover from hardships, giving them more capacity to enjoy their lives and families. Sterling Heights is proud to honor the compassion and generosity behind this project because financial standing should not be the only indicator of quality of life.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any discussion, Mr. Majek? Council, any discussion? Yes, no? Mr. Yan?
Just real quick, I just want to say, you know, we all try to do good in this life and on a daily basis, whether it's, you know, making sure we raise our kids right or, you know, being good neighbors or what have you. But, and as you saw from the citizen survey, you know, it's important for the city to provide a high quality of life for the people that live here. But organizations like yourselves, charities like the one that you run, is really what underpins our society. Not everybody is doing well. And when tough times happen, it's hard to know where to turn sometimes. And the fact that you gave these families the opportunity to keep their homes is beyond words to me. It's not that it's just Christmas time, it's any given time. And the fact that you've done something so heartfelt to help people, I think says everything. I've never met you before, but I know everything I need to know about you because of the work that you do. And I just want to say thank you for what you've done. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, I can tell you a lot more.
I'm sure you can. But you got to buy me a beer.
Very well said. Thank you. Council, anyone else? Mr. Radke?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just briefly, I'm incredibly touched by what you're doing for the community. This is a well-earned reward. I have to have concerns about the other families that you weren't able to help, and I hope that maybe some people in our community, other people could step up and help those families because it is a season of giving, but it's incredibly hard out there for some people right now. We have to keep those folks in our thoughts. So thank you for everything that you do. Keep it up. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Council, anyone else? Mrs. Zarko?
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. I just have one question for the family. Is this an annual event that takes place, and so you're saying, oh, you were only able to help 3 out of 30. But don't look at the numbers, because it means the world to those 3 people. And if you're doing this annually, it could be next year that somebody didn't get the award, this year we'll get it next year, for another, and is it always at the same time of the year? Through the chair.
Yeah, do you want to come up and?
So you might as well pitch your charity while you're here. Now's the time. It's the end of the year. People are looking for, to donate some money.
Yeah, so we typically do it in the fall. So we'll start taking applications in the late summer and then deliberate and make a decision. All the families are interviewed. We do look at their finances and make sure it's really a situation of need. We always try to find families specifically that aren't just looking for a handout, more a hand up. If they got this 6 months of assistance, they'll be on, seemingly easy street from that point forward. It's usually a one-time event that those are the families we usually focus on. Last year, we were able to do 1 family. This year, through the support of our clients and our staff and Greeting Gives Back Foundation, we were able to do 3 families. We'll see what happens next year. We'll do our best.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for doing that, and we wish you a lot of luck next year. And come back and tell us how many families you help next year.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Council, anyone else? If not, I'd just say I'm really proud of you guys. I love this family. They're one of the closest families that I have. I've probably spent more nights in Bob Wink's house than any other house, and aside from my parents or my own in my life. And I was, as some of my colleagues up here know, I'm not always the easiest to deal with, and when I was 15 or 16 or 17 years old, I can't imagine. But you and the boys, their mom, Bonnie Wink, Bob Wink, the Wink family has been near and dear to my heart, and just incredibly proud to have you in the city of Sterling Heights. Even though Jim moved out a couple of weeks ago or a couple months ago, but that's okay. You'll be an honorary resident of Sterling Heights. I'm glad you got to sit through the presentation of how great the city of Sterling Heights is and what kind of a community you left. But your business is here, and like I said, I'm just incredibly proud of you guys. I love you guys, and congratulations. So, council, with no further discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Summit Financial. Thank you, guys. All right. We will move on to the next item tonight, which is an ordinance introduction, and this is to introduce the First Amendment to the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget with a presentation from our Finance and Budget Director, Jennifer Varney. Ms. Varney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council, Mr. Vanderpool, and Mr. Kaszewski. I'm here tonight to introduce the First Amendment to the Appropriations Ordinance. As you know, we normally amend the budget twice a year, once in December and once towards the end of the year. The main purpose of the First Amendment is to carry forward unspent funding for projects that were not finished last year but were approved. And it also recognizes new grants and items that have come before council since the budget was adopted. The amendment increases general fund expenditures by about $112,000. We had reappropriated expenditures from the prior year of $183,000. We have grant-funded expenditures of about $389,000, and included in that is $314,000 for the hiring of 9 firefighters for 4 months, and this is 75% funded through the SAFER grant, and I'll get into a little more detail on that in a little bit. Partially offsetting is the elimination of a $500,000 transfer from the general fund to the major road fund. Now, you may recall we normally do this every year. Normally, we transfer $1 million from general fund to major roads. This past year, we only did $500,000, but now with the new state road funding plan, which significantly increases our road funding from the state of Michigan, this transfer really is no longer necessary, and then we can keep it in the general fund for other priorities. General fund revenue is increased by 0.3%, or about $400,000, and this is primarily due to various grant revenue. Some are listed here: the SAFER grant, the Assistant to Firefighters grant, and the EMS Workforce Support grant. So the net result of these changes is a use of fund balance of about $972,000. And this is about $300,000 less of a use of fund balance than was in the adopted budget. So we had a use of fund balance of about 1.2 million. Now it's a little bit less at 972,000. The total general fund balance remains healthy at 31% of expenditures. So just a little more detail about the SAFER grant. So the SAFER grant funds 9 firefighters for 3 years at a city cost share of 25% in the first and second year and 65% in the third year. And you are required to keep the firefighters for 3 years. Over the 3-year period, the total cost of wages and benefits is about $4.2 million. And the total grant funding is about 2.6, leaving a city cost share of about 1.6 million over the 3-year period. So one way to look at it is we get 9 firefighters for 3 years at about a little over a third of the cost. The budget for other city funds is being adjusted by $30.4 million, and this is all primarily carry forward projects. $13.5 million is to carry forward unspent road projects. $9.5 million is the carry forward of unspent capital projects. $2.8 million is the final ARPA appropriation expenditures. $1.7 million is to reappropriate facility upgrades at Velocity, including a new HVAC system that just went in. And there's also $235,000 for partial year operating costs for the pickleball facility. I also wanted to provide an overview of the state of Michigan budget impacts to the city that was just approved by the state. So the state of Michigan budget did reduce constitutional revenue sharing. The city impact on that in the first year is about $300,000 less in revenue sharing. However, it also introduced a new public safety revenue sharing component that almost offset it. So the net difference between the two revenue sharing adjustments is a net loss to the city of about $80,000 over the prior year. However, the road funding increases are significant. In the current fiscal year, it is estimated that we'll receive $5.3 million more in road funding, and then in the following 2 years, over $8 million more each year in road funding. And these estimates are reflected in the amendment. Also in the state budget, we received 2 legislative directed spending projects. One is $2 million to fund a ladder truck for the fire department. And the second one is to fund $1 million toward the police training center improvements, which is the jail renovation. Mr. Mayor, this is the first reading of the amended appropriations ordinance, which is scheduled for adoption at the January 6th meeting.
All right, thank you very much. Mrs. Varney, is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on this item? Not, council, we need a motion.
Mayor Taylor,
Mrs. Zarko.
resolve to introduce the First Amendment to the appropriations ordinance for the 2025-26 fiscal year.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any discussion, Mrs. Zarko?
I think it's been explained last meeting and this meeting, so I'm comfortable with what we're doing.
Thank you. Council, anyone else?
Just briefly, so through the chair to Ms. Varney, thank you again for a good job on this, giving us great clarity as well as making sure that we have a good balanced budget. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Sarowski. Mr. Radke.
Just briefly, through the chair to Mrs. Varney, this looks interesting. I guess the first concern I have is just the other day, the state of Michigan retroactively cut public safety funding from our city to the tune of about $190,000. Am I correct in that, Mrs. Varney?
Yeah, they cut the unspent portion of our legislatively directed spending from the past fiscal year's budget. So we were awarded $750,000 towards the police command vehicle. We had already received reimbursement of $560,000 because that's what we've spent so far, even though the vehicle has been ordered and the funds are obligated. But the $190,000 that had not been reimbursed, as of this moment, is cut. However, we are working with our legislators and are pretty confident that that will be given back to us. But at this moment, it has been cut, the 190,000.
So I guess my next question would be, I'm wondering why we aren't accounting for it in this mid-year budget. Because as of right now, we don't have the money. So essentially, we're leaving a budget hole to be fixed, I assume, later, with the hope that the state Republican Party restores the money that they've now stolen from our public safety department.
Yeah, I mean, one reason is the amendment was already done when that came down. But, I mean, I don't know that I honestly would have cut it at this point anyway, because through our discussions, I'm fairly confident it's going to get reappropriated. But if at the final amendment time it's not, we will have to, because again, the money is already obligated. Just as a little bit of a reminder, the 750 is about half of the cost, and the rest of it is being covered through forfeiture. So we would probably cover the remaining, my proposal would be to cover
Right.
the remaining
Reappropriate
190 through federal forfeitures also, which I would clean up at the final amendment.
Okay, I mean, I find it befuddling that the state Republican Party decided to defund our police department. I also find it very, we have a fire truck coming through the same appropriations process. So what is to stop them next year from doing the same budgetary trick and taking the fire truck that's already been appropriated from, they couldn't they? Because as I understand it, if the money is not spent in a year, they can essentially cut it because it goes to work project funding. And the timeline for that fire truck is over a year. Am I incorrect in that?
You are not incorrect. So one thing we've learned, now this is the first time it's ever happened.
Well, it's happened once before, but.
But one time, what we've learned now is we need to try to spend the money as fast as we can. But like you said, there's, a fire pumper right now has a 3-year build out. But once we get the grant agreements, getting the appropriation into budget is only the first part of the project. Then we get grant agreements from the state, then we have to spend the money. So we're already trying to follow up and pressure to get the grant agreements. Once we get the grant agreements, depending on what the grant allows, we will do everything we can to spend the money before the end of the next fiscal year.
Right. So I guess that leads me to my next question. If they were to cut the fire pumper next year, which could very well happen, they reveled in doing it this year to us. Mr. Hall, the Speaker of the House, was almost ecstatic in that he's cutting waste and fraud and abuse in this project for us. So if we lose the $2.1 million for the fire pumper next year, where would that come from?
We would have to factor it into our annual capital budget plan, where we normally spend somewhere in the neighborhood of $4 to $5 million on new vehicles, equipment, and that would have to be basically factored into our annual capital plan, at the expense of other.
Or we go into our reserves, essentially, our rainy day fund.
Of course, that could always be an option.
Okay. So I guess I'm very concerned about our funding stream from the state of Michigan, because they seem to not know what the right hand and left hand are doing right now. I'm also concerned about this SAFER grant for firefighters. In my history here, we've never hired any kind of employees without a plan to pay them on the backside. And as it stands right now, we are obligated for 3 years if we accept it, which I'm not against. I mean, it's a clear savings. But to me, I think it's somewhat difficult to hire people, and at the end of the road, if the GEMT money does not come through, or the fire pumper money gets cut, essentially, either we're going to raise taxes to pay for these employees, or we're going to lay them off. And I think that that's it's hard to ask someone to come work for you with the expectation that you might not be able to keep them at the end of the 3 years. So I'm wondering what your thoughts were on that.
Well, again, as you mentioned that I didn't mention in the presentation, the plan is to pay for these fires with GEMT money. We don't have it yet. We expect that we will start receiving it in '27. The other thing we want to monitor over the next 3 years is overtime. Hiring 9 more firefighters should reduce overtime. It's very hard to quantify prospectively because there's a lot of reasons for overtime, but this 3 years will give us a really good picture of whether overtime actually does decrease. It should. But yeah, the truth is at the end of the 3 years, if we don't have GEMT, we don't have offsetting reductions in overtime, and there's not another funding source, the positions could be eliminated if that's what council chose. We normally eliminate through attrition whenever possible, so that would be my expectation, that if the positions were eliminated, you know, there's always people retiring and moving on, and we would do it through attrition as opposed to an actual layoff.
Again, you know, just at about this time when this is all happening, we're also going to have to, if we choose to do so, re-up our Safe Streets initiative. So it's kind of a very tricky timeline, I think, to have employees who might get laid off, have to go before the voters for a tax, either a tax sustainment or a tax increase. And then I just think it's a very fine needle to thread right now, especially with the state now cutting money through a backdoor process that seems Byzantine to me, that I think no one expected. So I'm very hesitant about all this. I'm happy to pass this today. I think we should have some conversations about this. I guess my question would be, would we have to accept all of the safer money or none? We have to do 9 or nothing, or could it be split?
I'll let the fire chief, if he want to correct me, but no, I think we get reimbursed for whatever we hired. So if
Through
we
the chair
only
to
hired,
Fire chief.
if we only hired 3 firefighters, because it's a reimbursement grant, I do not believe it's all or nothing, but I'll let the fire chief correct me.
Chief.
Thank you. So with the SAFER grant, we've put in to pay for 9 people. This is a reimbursement process. So whatever we decide to go forward with, we're going to get reimbursed for, is what it is. So we pay the money up front, and then we get the money back.
Okay.
What we do. That's how that system works.
But that's helpful too. I guess my final question through the chair to Mrs. Varney is, right now, I believe, are we running a deficit in the transportation program? And if we are we hoping to backfill that with future GMT money, or I guess what's the plan to stabilize that fund?
So there is a deficit since hiring the 4 EMTs, which, again, that is also supposed to be backfilled with GE.
How much is the deficit?
It's about 300,000 annually starting this year.
And it'll grow?
It'll grow with raises.
So right now, the transport, because of the EMT program, which we hope to also pay through, if we allocate GMT money for this, because I know you and I have talked in the past, and GMT money is general fund money. It could be used for any purpose, not just for the fire department.
That is correct. There's no legal obligation to use the GEMT money for the fire department. It would go into the general fund and can be, allocated.
Appropriated by appropriators.
Appropriated like any other general fund revenue. But what we've talked about is the plan was to use it to hire more firefighters.
What the suggestion that city administration has made, because
Correct.
the administration doesn't make funding decisions, the city council does at the end of the day.
Correct.
Excellent. So I guess I'm happy to go forward today. I have real concerns about this budget amendment with our future budget, with the Trump administration, with the state legislature defunding our police department. I guess I have one final thing I'd ask. I'm hoping to amend the training fund for the city council by $30,000, which I don't think is a lot, but I think it would help benefit us, especially with all these issues we just talked about, to learn more about things. So without objection, I'd like a budget amendment prepared for $30,000 to add to our training fund. Mr. Mayor?
Any objection?
When are we going to bring this up? During the budget?
No, it'd be at the next, it'd be 2 weeks from today. You know, the first meeting in January, it would be presented. We're introducing the budget amendment right now, so just like with the process in April, May, it would be presented to us to vote on as a separate amendment at the first meeting in January.
Yeah, so I am going to object to this. I think this is something that we need to talk about during our regular budget hearings. I don't know why we would bring it up now. Another $30,000 for education and travel? Is that it?
I mean, it could be used for that. It could be used for training, Henry. That's why we have a training fund.
Training Training for all employees?
For the city council.
For the city council? Okay, well, I'm going to object to
That's
that
fine.
at this point.
Okay, are there any other objections?
Mayor Taylor, we'll be
Mrs.
voting
Schmidt.
on it separately.
I think, right, wouldn't it come back as a separate budget amendment?
You can vote again, up or down.
Okay.
So you can vote it up or
Okay.
down.
Well, I can still poll, right? Any other objections to this?
I have to think about it. However, if I am allowed to vote on it separately at the next meeting, then I'm okay with that.
Okay, so, Mr. Radke, I think you'll need to make a motion to further amend.
At the next meeting, or try to make the motion to amend now?
You need to make a motion right now to bring forward, yeah.
I move to bring forward an amendment at our next meeting to amend the city council training fund for an extra additional $30,000.
Support. It's moved and supported. Any discussion on that?
Mayor Taylor,
Mrs. Sarowski?
just for clarity, what does where did you get the number 30,000?
Mr. Radke?
Well, oh, sure. I spoke with the city administration, and this is more than we need. Now, we have a $350 million budget. The city council part of the budget is the smallest department of the budget. I think we're 0.0001 or more of the entire city budget. And this would just make it easier, because we were having some discussions, to get us to next year and we can properly set a new budget.
So that,
Yeah.
so you're saying the $30,000 is what,
It'd be an additional
through
to
the
what we
chair
have
to
now
Mr. Radke? Okay, all right,
for the entire council.
okay, all right. I'm fine with it coming up for a vote.
Council, any further discussion on the motion to amend? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
5 yes, 2 noes. Mr. Myjack and Mr. Yanez. Mr. Radke, any further discussion on the motion?
No, that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, council, anyone else?
Mayor Taylor?
Mrs. Schmidt?
Just briefly, through the chair to Mrs. Varney. So when you put up the road funding slide, it showed 3 years of road funding that you're expecting that we're going to get from the state. Is that correct?
Correct.
So that makes me nervous as well, because next year is an election year at the state level, and who knows what's going to happen. I mean, things are already wonky there now. So I know this isn't part of the current budget, this is our projection, but this slide makes me extremely nervous to project how much we're gonna have available for all of our road funding. And that's really, the only comment I have. It wasn't a question, it was a comment, so, nothing further.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Schmidt.
Mayor, just a question.
Mr. Myjack.
To Maria Schmidt and to Ms. Varney. So these increases, can you go back, Ms. Varney, that previous slide on road funding?
Yep.
And Councilman Schmidt was talking about being nervous of this. What am I missing out on this? Is this a slower rate in road increasing?
No, what you're missing out in is that this is what the state is telling us they're going to give us.
Projecting.
However, they've been known to not do what they say they're
Well,
going to
they've
do.
been known, what, in the last 5 years, they've been known to do that as well?
This year.
This year.
They've cut constitutional revenue sharing this year. So, I'm sorry.
So that was that's my fear. Let's not, I mean, this is kind of like putting the cart before the horse, because Ms. Varney, if you want to add to this, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, so I would just like to say that these are the projections from the state of Michigan. We have not budgeted any expenditures for these additional monies, because I want to see it, at least start seeing it in our bank account. The additional fuel tax is supposed to go into effect January of '26. The marijuana tax was just upheld by the court and is supposed, I'm sure they're going to appeal it, but as of this point, the marijuana tax funds a big portion of that. So while I may include this revenue, we did not budget any additional road expenditures to spend this revenue.
Right, and I understood that. I'm just saying that slide makes me nervous because they have a track record. That's all. So,
Thank you.
does that help?
Yes, thank you, thank you.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Majay?
No, sir.
Mr. Yanes?
Yeah, thank you. Two things. First of all, if we could, from city administration, get a projection on fire department retirements over the next 3 years, I'd appreciate that. And second of all, so this is the new excise, the fuel funding is the new excise tax. And it's just like the old tax, you can't make people buy gasoline, or diesel fuel, but when they do, there's a tax that goes to that. And you know, these are projections, but this is not like money that somebody up in Lansing can snatch away. This is the new excise tax. This is the new way they're funding roads through a fuel tax. No guarantees we're gonna get that money, but the estimates, I think, are probably pretty close. The big question is the marijuana tax, and if that gets stymied in the courts or not. I'm not uncomfortable with the projected numbers that were presented to us. I don't think that that's money that's sort of up in the air that could be pulled away. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the discussion up here tonight. I think that we do have a long history of seeing the state of Michigan cut funding to us without explanation or giving us unfunded mandates. I mean, my own take on it is that I believe the Republicans were not in control of the state house in 2024 when the budget was passed. There was an election in 2024. Now they are in control in 2025, and so they did it. And my guess is that the Republicans are not going to do this again next year because this is their budget that they passed. At least they control the state house.
The Senate could respond in kind, though.
They could, but I have more faith in Democrats to not eliminate programs like this for purely political reasons. It's true. But I could be wrong about that. So I'm not overly concerned, but I do think it was a good discussion, and I think we have to be wary of it. And I'm certain that our finance department is. They're very in tune with what's going on and make sure that we have good budgets that we can be sure of each spring. So, and I think the amendment today, as it always does, shows that we generally come in underspending and we have a good plan. And if things do come in higher than we expected, we have plenty of reserves because we plan accordingly. So, all right, the main motion is to introduce the First Amendment to the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget. It's been moved and supported. Council, with no further discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. All right, moving on. Next up is an ordinance adoption, and this is to consider adoption of the ordinance amending Chapter 29 of the Code of Ordinances to add licensing and other operational regulations for virtual currency machines and associated devices. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on this item? Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Good evening. My name is Cassie Thierfelder. I am the manager of advocacy at AARP here in Michigan, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to speak in favor of this proposal today. There are more than 30,000 crypto kiosks in the United States, and while Americans of all ages have had more than $246 million stolen through crypto kiosk fraud, we know that 85% of these losses were experienced by individuals who are 60 and over. In 2024, adults 60 and older had an average of more than $40,000 stolen from them through crypto kiosk fraud. Crypto kiosk fraud is the fastest growing fraud industry, and its impact is profound, particularly when victims are older adults who are at a time in their lives when they are least able to recover financially. While the scope of this problem is broad, specific and meaningful action like this proposal can at least help fraud victims avoid complete financial devastation. So I would like to thank you for putting forward and considering this proposal and seeking to protect the residents of Sterling Heights. In particular, by establishing new user transaction limits, this ordinance will put additional protections in place that will prevent residents from having their entire savings depleted through fraud. However, without daily transaction limits for all users, including existing users, there is still an opportunity for scammers to cause significant harm to residents. We have seen criminals use this loophole in other communities that have established similar protections. And so for this reason, I would encourage you to consider establishing a daily transaction limit for all users as well. But we at AARP are so grateful to you for considering this important step toward protecting your residents from crypto kiosk fraud, and AARP supports this ordinance, and we would love to connect with you and share additional opportunities to expand these protections. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you know what other communities have put as the daily limit?
We have some model ordinances that I'd be happy to share. Some have done 5,000, some have done 10,000, others have done 1,000. So it's really community by community, but we can share what the results have been across other communities, not here in Michigan, but in other states as well.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Very helpful.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak on this item? Not, council, we need a motion.
Mayor Taylor?
Mrs. Sarowski?
Resolved to adopt the ordinance amending Chapter 29 of the Code of Ordinances to add licensing and other operational regulations for virtual currency machines and associated devices.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion,
Yeah,
Mrs. Sarowski?
actually, so Cassie, and I'm sorry I don't have your last name, I didn't write it down fast enough, did bring up a question that I was also considering anyway, because I did my research since I wasn't here for the last meeting. So through the chair to whomever can speak on this, is there a reason why we didn't already write in the establish a daily transaction limit?
So, Mr. Kaszubski, I mean, I think what we did was we said you can't draw out more than 1,000 for the first 15 days or 2 weeks or 14 days.
2 weeks.
1,000 a
All
day.
right, go ahead,
Put in more
Mr.
than
So,
1,000.
so what we did is we put a limitation. The most vulnerable people, as we've noticed, have been the elderly or people over 60. Most of the scammers happen, and what they do is they generally prey on people trying to get large transactions quickly. Putting a daily transaction limit of 1,000 for 14 days gives the opportunity for us to either catch the people who are doing it, because somebody will usually figure it out by then, especially with the warnings that we anticipate having on the machines. I've spoken with a couple of vendors who have since reached out to me, the ones that actually own the machines, and they have talked about what their warnings look like. Specifically, questions like, are you on the phone with someone right now? Is someone telling you to do this? These are things that they have to read separate and distinct from just your terms and conditions. They pop up on the screen on their own. So we felt that the $1,000 limitation for the first 14 days would be the most valuable protection up front. When it comes to limiting and putting a cap on transactions, some of the machines do already at 10,500, but many don't have a cap on it right now. There is some state legislation that's being pushed through that we'll be looking at and following and maybe assisting in getting some of that state legislation done. But we didn't put in a cap at this point, because the fraud that we're experiencing isn't really a daily cap of somebody that's experiencing the machine. It's really about those first 2 weeks of operation. So that's why we didn't feel it was necessary, but it's something we can look at as the state looks at the regulations, and we can tweak this as we go forward.
Okay, great, thank you so much. So yes, I think that, I've seen people scammed by multiple people. So I don't necessarily, it might be one person scamming somebody initially, and then a week later they're scammed again. Trust me, my credit card was banged twice in 3 weeks at Christmas time a couple of years ago. And so it just, I would like to recommend or request that we do have a daily cap of some amount. I can throw out a number just for kicks and giggles, $1,000, but that doesn't mean that that's the right amount. So I would just, that would be my request with this, if it's still possible to do.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Sarowski. So let me ask you this, Mr. Kaszubski. If we pass this tonight as it's written, and then, we resolve to continue monitoring it, which we would do anyways, right?
Two-step process.
How difficult is it to come back once this is implemented, to then change the rules. Because what I don't want to do is end up saying, you know, we're changing the rules over and over for the operators. However, I mean, I think to the, again, it was Cassie?
ARP.
To Cassie's point, like, there are plenty of people who have been scammed where they just continually keep giving money, and that's part of the scam, is that they, you know, they get the first tranche of money, and then the scam artist has some other excuse why they need a second tranche, and it goes on and on and on until all their money's gone, and then the scam artist disappears. And that's when they realize they've been had. So I think the intention makes a lot of sense that, you know, who in their right mind is gonna keep doing this for 2 weeks? But my concern is that if they're only able to take small amounts, you know, they'll get directed to another city, probably eventually. But, and it does seem like it's tough to find where the balance is between giving the private sector the ability to operate their legitimate business and protecting vulnerable people from being scammed. So do you have any thoughts about if we pass this tonight without a daily limit, how difficult would it be to come back and institute one later? Or if we do pass one with a daily limit, you've done a considerable amount of research on this, you've talked to the operators, you've talked to the companies. How do you think it would be received by them, and just any thoughts?
Sure, thank you, Mayor. The first question is, how easy is it to come back? It's like any other ordinance amendment. It's a two meeting step process. If there was an emergency, we could do it in one. But in reality, it's very simple to do. These ordinances are kind of new. So yes, we're looking at what works in striking the balance with the operators. I had one operator that said, well, they don't like the 14 days, they prefer it to be 72 hours. Well, that's really short, in my opinion. I think 14 days is a better operator. But the other operator was, quote, perfectly fine with the 14-day limitation. They didn't have a problem. They wanted a higher minimum transaction fee of $2,000 instead of $1,000 for the first 14 days. They had their specific reason was because it could, at that point, submit SAR, suspicious activity reports to the federal government, which is fine, but the SAR doesn't protect the individual. It's just a reporting mechanism.
Don't get looked at for years at times.
And they may not be looked at in time. So for me, you know, fighting over $1,000 issue, these are things that the state's going to be looking at as well in the early part of next year. So as we see that develop, I think I'm going to monitor it very closely. I'm going on the recommendations of our police department, our detective bureau, on what they think is adequate to stop the types of frauds they're seeing. And if we enact this today, we'll be monitoring it over the next several months. And we're really looking at an implication, or the application of this sometime in March. So we'll have time to tweak this even between now and then if there's an issue.
Mayor Taylor, can I rebut?
Yep, go ahead.
So thank you. So on that thought, and our job, the intent of this is to protect the residents. So why don't we just go full in, all in, and say, let's, because I don't want to come back and have to re-amend. In my opinion, I think that's just a waste of time. And then if it is too low, then we can re-amend. I would like to do some type of, we can decide the numbers, but a daily limit, daily transaction limit today. If we could, please.
Okay.
That's my thoughts.
All right, then, why don't we keep, I don't want to postpone, because, so when do you think we're going to be implementing this?
The actual licensing and going through all this will be probably March of next year.
Okay, so we have some time, but I would imagine if we push this off till, really, we're 3 weeks to the next meeting. So we're 5 weeks from, well, no, we're 3 weeks from potentially implementing it. Why don't we discuss it now?
Right.
I mean, we're not going to discuss it amongst ourselves outside of the chamber, so. Go ahead, Mr. Koszewski.
I don't mean to interrupt, Mayor, but so if we're going to talk about a daily cap, the reason the 10,500 also was because that's a SARS limitation. So 10,000 is generally what you see with banks, right? $10,000 transactions. So what they wanted to do, at least one of the vendors said 10,500 is what they're pushing for at the state if there's going to be a cap, to put it to that level. So if we want to look at that and keep our $1,000 limitation in place for the 14 days.
We do that.
And then after that, for any transaction, limit it to 10,500. We could do that.
Well, to answer that, thank you. I think 10,500 is a lot. That's going to bankrupt some people pretty quickly. So I would like to see it lowered. I'll throw it out there. Let's do 3,000 daily cap. That's what I would think. But because what we're doing is we're talking about seniors who do have limited funds. And granted, there might be some out there that have a good $1 million that they think they're going to triple. But I don't think that's your average scammed senior. I think your average scammed senior has maybe 40 grand in the bank, and that they're going to get that taken pretty quickly. Has been my experience. So that's, if we're going to debate it, I threw it out there. See if it sticks to the wall.
Yeah, okay, I don't think I'd be in support of $3,000 because they're still a legitimate business and there still are legitimate people. I would guess, Captain Hopper, do you know, and Mr. Koszybski, if you know, do we have an estimate of what percentage? I know you had good numbers of about $500,000 in what we believe were scams, for lack of a better term. But do we know how much money has been deposited into these machines? Or what the total transaction amounts have been? Do you have that information, Mr. Koszybski? I bet we don't.
I don't know how we would.
Do you, Captain Hopper? That's probably proprietary and they're not gonna give it to us. But my guess is that we're talking about, millions and millions of dollars beyond that, of legitimate transactions. So, I mean, we could pass an ordinance that says you can't buy a gift card for more than $50 at any store in Sterling Heights.
Sometimes
right?
gift cards, right?
Because that's gonna cut down on a lot of scams. But it's gonna make it very difficult for me to buy Christmas presents because that's my best idea.
Yeah.
It's
a good idea. Yeah.
So let's figure out a number, I think we have to today, right? So, I guess why don't we just let everybody kind of chime in and say what they would think? All right, Mr. Ray.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I obviously support this ordinance. It was something that I was very passionate about. I agree with Councilwoman Sarowski. I would set the limit at $3,000 or $5,000. My Bank of America ATM won't let me take out more than $2,000 a day right now. So I don't think that going beyond what a normal ATM, these are not ATMs, they're kiosks, but going beyond a normal ATM, I don't think that that's insane or going to stop people from doing business. If you can't go to your bank, Huntington or Bank of America or someplace else, and take out more than $1,000 or $2,000 right now, and these are not banks, they're in a gas station or some other store. There's no manager there who can help you with your transaction. So I don't think that limiting it to what we'd allow ATMs, or not what we would allow, but what ATMs allow right now is beyond the pale or going to somehow interfere with commerce. So I would say $5,000, but I'm open to this. I think we should do this now. I don't think we should bring it back. I don't want a two-step process to amend this. These things get bogged down, they eat up our agenda. So I would say $5,000 right now, but I'm open to hear what other people have to say. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Radke. Anyone else?
Mayor Taylor?
Mrs. Schmidt?
Well, first of all, my bank, I can only get $400 a day out of my ATM.
Change your bank.
So, no, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. But I'm more comfortable with the 3,000, personally. And I guess if someone has a bunch of money that they want to put into a Bitcoin machine, I guess they can find another community to go to, but we're safeguarding our residents. And I guess through the chair to Captain Hopper, do you have anything you want to throw into this conversation? With your binder?
She's been
shuffling.
making faces in the crowd.
That's okay.
I appreciate it, and I definitely understand the
You can go there if you need to. Whatever works for
daily
you.
transaction limit, but the numbers that I have from the Freds, whether it's 3,000 or 5,000, isn't going to do any good. Everybody that's in fraud over here minimally has lost $14,950. That's the lowest amount that they suspected for fraud, all the way up to this, we'll say about $75,000 to $100,000 is what they're losing. So a 3,000 or a 5,000, during the debate isn't going to save we want to save, unfortunately. So that's how much money that they're losing that quickly.
It would make them require more than 1 day to lose that much money.
Just a minute.
These are transactions, so 4 separate subjects, 9 separate, excuse me, I have a cold. 9 transactions, $203,000.
Right.
So that 3,000 or 5,000, whatever you decide, that's fine, but I don't know.
And that's after the initial 14-day waiting period
No,
from the first
this is
transaction.
just numbers that were current, and not in place for the 14.
But we would still have the 14-day initial $1,000
Right.
deposit.
Right, that
And
will
then,
help.
and
That's
then
where
it
they're
would switch to the 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, whatever number that we come up with, correct? Mr. Kajewski?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think we need to set a limit, a daily limit, and I'm comfortable with the lower number of 3,000. And to be perfectly honest with you, the day after we had this at our last meeting was the State of the County address, and I happened to sit next to a council or a trustee from Macomb Township, and because we had all vowed up here to reach out to colleagues in other communities to try and get other communities on board. He, the next day, asked us to send him all the information. He was so excited to get involved. We've gotten a lot of news time coverage on this. I think, we're setting the bar, and I think we need to, our message is we want to protect our residents. So I think by putting safeguards daily in place, that would be my message, that we're trying to protect our residents. So I have nothing further.
All right, thank you, Mr. Schmidt. I'll start at the end this time.
Well, thank you, Mayor Taylor, I appreciate it.
Mrs.
I can appreciate everything. Well, first of all, I'm in favor of the ordinance, but I have some questions. And the first one, biggest one, is through the chair to Captain Hopper.
Get back up.
I don't mean to do that, because it's something that we haven't discussed. And my feeling is, I think we said that whatever establishment has this machine there, and it is a kiosk, it is not an ATM. ATMs give you money, this one you put money into, so let's clarify that.
Well, I'd like to clarify that. Money does come out. You can trade in your crypto and get cash out.
Oh, okay, well, thank you for telling me that. Okay, so there's a fraudulent, action at a machine where somebody scammed of $40,000. And then we said that the establishment gets a percentage of the transactions of the machine. So does the establishment get the money even on the fraudulent amount that people are putting in there? Say somebody's losing $40,000? Because then if the establishment's getting some money, I would think that in order for the person putting the money into that was scammed should at least get that money back from the establishment, because that's one way you could track this. Because you keep on saying, well, it goes somewhere, but where does it go? Well, if the establishment's getting money because the machine is there, they're getting their money from somewhere. So to me, I would think that they should have to reimburse the person that scammed with the money that they received as a portion of what, whether it be a teenager or whoever, senior citizen, somebody that's just trying it out and they get scammed. So I would think that there's some responsibility on the person that has this machine in their establishment.
I believe it's and I've got one of my crypto fraud detectives right here standing over there, it's a rental fee that they obtain.
They don't get.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. So, yeah, it is a rental fee. The process, if we are able to get these funds and to track it, and then the part of it is that they get the fees back. So, yes.
Okay, so they get something back.
Right, and
So
that's
there
in
is,
the future
but that
when we
has
start
nothing to
catching.
do with the ordinance. We don't have
Correct.
that in the ordinance. Can we put it in the ordinance?
Mr.
Or is that through the chair to Mr. Kaszewski?
So what you're essentially doing, because remembering that these machines are not fraud in themselves.
In themselves, you're right.
And the people
absolutely
that
right.
operate the machines aren't the fraudsters. And the people who are using the machines, generally speaking, aren't fraudsters. So you really would be holding somebody to an account that follows all the rules in the ordinance that if some third party still finds a way to dupe somebody into committing a fraud and transferring money to that fraudster, you're gonna hold you wanna hold the individual business owner who has no knowledge of the fraud transacting, who's following the rules, responsible for that fraud. That's the argument against doing that.
Okay, but if it's a percentage that they're receiving of the fraud,
They're
why wouldn't they
receiving a
be
rental
giving, I mean, that's what I'm saying, is if it's a rental, that's completely different than getting a percentage of the fraud.
I don't believe they get, and we don't have every lease or every agreement that is out there. We don't know what every business has cut, whatever deal. But generally speaking, they're renting the space with a number they get every month. And it's the actual machine or the vendor that takes the percentage out of the transaction. That's how they make their money. So I don't believe that the business owner gets a cut of a transaction, because that could be wildly lucrative for that business, and I don't believe that's the model.
Okay, and we're not saying that there's any responsibility, say that the machine is set up over here and there's somebody that's working at the counter here and they know that there's fraud going on here, and they have no responsibility to stop what's going on. Through the chair.
Well, the short answer is, the way we're setting this up is there are guardrails that are supposed to be there. You have to have somebody on site that knows what's going on with the machine. You have to have a hotline to be able to call. You have to have all the warnings up, and they have to essentially, I'm not gonna say they're monitoring every transaction because there's privacy concerns with people doing money
Absolutely.
transactions.
Okay,
I would assume that the owner of the business would not want grandma to be scammed, and if they notice grandma being scammed, then somebody might say something. But it's hard for us to dictate or legislate that from here in an ordinance, to legislate that somebody that might be working the cash register that night is going to be monitoring every transaction that occurs. It would be almost impossible to enforce.
okay, I can buy that, but then you could have a good Samaritan citizen that walks in and is watching it happen, and they're the ones that are gonna stop it.
We would hope everybody should do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying about the clerk that's in the store.
Or, well, I'm not arguing as much as I'm saying I don't know how I legislate that.
Okay, and that's my big thing, and then if the limits, you know what, we have somebody that's sitting here that's been working on this and has talked about ordinances in other states. Maybe Casey has a suggestion as to the limit that they've used somewhere else, and we might ask her while she's here.
I did, didn't I?
Yes, you did, you did. Hi. And I would say that our recommended ordinance for local ordinances in terms of like the caps would be $1,000 daily or $10,000 monthly. I know you mentioned $10,500 was a number specific here. That might be a good amount for that limit. And then we also do have model ordinance language that relates to reimbursing for those fees when somebody does have a fraudulent transaction or they're scammed, being able to be reimbursed for at least the fee portion. And if you're not interested in doing like a refund as well, but we have both examples as well that we can provide. But I know you want to move this forward today, so but I'd be happy to share some of that information too in a follow-up. But yes, our recommended is $1,000 daily or $10,000 monthly.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Nothing further. Nothing further.
Mr. Yanis?
Thank you. So, through the chair to Mr. Koszubski, I guess, because I don't know who's going to answer this. So obviously, I don't own crypto. I'm curious, these kiosks or ATMs or whatever we want to call them, how many people are actually using them for their banking? And the idea is, like, I just looked up on my phone how to buy crypto. Hold on a second. How to buy crypto. I can buy crypto online through Coinbase, Robinhood, Fidelity, PayPal. Who owns Venmo. I can buy crypto through all of them, and if I'm savvy enough to know even what crypto is and that I want to buy it, why am I running to my local gas station and pumping 10 grand into the machine so I can buy $10,000 worth of Ethereum or whatever? So my question is, how do people use these kiosks or ATM on a regular, if I'm a regular crypto guy, how do I use that? Or do I use something online? Do I have to go to a grocery store or gas station to do my banking?
No, you can absolutely do it online. That's how most investors will do it. Sit at their own computer online. It's the scammers that are sending the seniors to an ATM to put their cash.
You know, so this is why I have no problem with a lower daily limit, you know, is $1,000. I do like the fact that we are extending over a period of time for a first-time user, just to sort of block that person from going back to that particular machine. But people aren't using these to legitimately to make huge deposits or huge withdrawals. And so I don't know why, as Councilwoman Schmidt said, you're $400. On mine is $300. And I think that's probably more because they don't want you cleaning out the ATM. But the fact of the matter is, I don't know why we wouldn't have a lower limit to keep people from getting scammed. If people are really investing in crypto, they're doing it online. If they're doing it legitimately, they're doing it online. So I would even go a number lower than 1,000 on a daily basis. So I'm willing to entertain anything, but I think a daily limit, I think, is reasonable for this ordinance. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Yanez. Mr. Myjack, anything?
I'm favorable with a lower limit of $1,000, but I'm okay with 3,000 as well,
Okay.
that range.
Okay, so let me, I guess, ask, how does it track your daily usage and your monthly usage? Do you have to create a username and a password at each different location? Mr. Koszewski?
Yeah, so what would happen is it creates a wallet, and then that wallet is designated by a number, and that number is able to be tracked by the machine and the operators to know when you're using it and how the money's being either withdrawn or deposited. So yes, we can set it up. The concern would be only in how the setup is city to city by these machine operators, and, you know, that's their problem, not mine. At the end of the day, you set it up for a $3,000 maximum transaction fee after the first 14 days of that particular user's wallet.
And does that wallet, is that the same wallet you would use at the different vendor and different locations, or does it change from vendor to vendor?
That's a good question. I think it might depend on the type of currency. You might have a different wallet for a different currency.
He's got,
All right, you're coming up now.
aren't you glad you're here?
Double duty.
The scammer can give you four different wallet numbers for one scan. So if you can go to ATM, you'll give a wallet number and choose just like a scan code. You can deposit money, you can go to another ATM. He'll make you enough, because they do is they try to hide the money. They put it in different wallets. Then they move it from one wallet to another wallet. They jump it until it gets to an exchange. At the exchange is where, this is exactly what it is. It's an exchange is where they can cash it out and move it into a whole nother Bitcoin, from Ethereum to Monero, which is, we can't track it all. That's where most criminals use that one. So the biggest issue with the Bitcoins machines is if the scammer decides to give you four different wallet numbers, it's give you $4,000 right there at that time.
Okay, so that's what I'm trying to get at. If I go to use one of these kiosks for the first time, and I'm, whether I'm doing legitimate business or getting scammed, what is the process like the first time I go onto one of these things? So the person is giving me a wallet number, I go to the kiosk, what do I actually do?
They walk you through, you punch in the wallet number, or they'll send you a scan on your phone, and it reads it.
Okay, so they'll
Puts it
send
in
me
there.
a scan on my phone, I show it to the scan, it's probably a QR code, I show it to the machine scans it, and it says, all right, do you want to send money to this, or send Bitcoin to this wallet?
Well, send money.
Money, cash.
Money, you want to deposit money into it to purchase
Yeah,
Bitcoin, put there.
but they're not they're sending I'm buying
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin
Yes.
at the kiosk, and then the Bitcoin is being transferred So that's what I'm trying to ask. So, okay, that's where the money's gonna go. How do I supply money to the machine from my pocket to this wallet?
A lot of times they go to the bank and pull cash. Is the majority of what it is. They dump cash in. They go to the bank, because most banks will say, I believe you're being scammed, but the guy's on the phone with them saying, Tom, you're doing this for a home improvement project, you're paying cash. And it's anywhere from 1,000 to 10 to 15,000, depending on what they're asking for.
Okay,
And then the bank does their job, their due diligence, but they do give them the money. They take that cash and they just feed the cash in the machine.
okay. But, so how will the machine track whether it's me using it or somebody else using it? How does the machine, so if we're gonna set a daily limit, and this is for the first 14 days and every day thereafter, how does the machine know that I'm not a unique user that hasn't been there before?
I know some of the receipts I've seen has actually seen the person, if you're depositing the money, it will have your name on it with the receipt number.
You
So
also have to show an ID.
you have to show an ID, because you have to scan your ID.
Okay, so you scan your ID at the
Yeah,
kiosk?
because it
Okay.
puts your name on the,
Information.
That's what we were wondering.
yeah, all your information is on that receipt,
Okay.
And they can tell if you're a new user
yes.
by the ID, and they won't allow you to use a second or a third.
Because they have the database that
cash your
saves
ID.
everything on
You
your
have to
name.
use your ID to do the next transaction.
Okay.
That's one of the things we're requiring on all these machines, is that IDs have to be collected as part of that, because it gets collected by the machine.
Do you have any idea what the rents being charged by the party stores are?
I do not.
Okay. Look, I think Mr. Yanez makes a good point, which is that there's plenty of different ways that you can do legitimate business if that's what you're trying to do. If there's somebody that wants to deposit thousands and thousands of dollars into these machines to buy crypto for legitimate purposes, I'm comfortable saying, sorry. Do it a different way.
Yeah. Do it online.
You know, I wonder if it makes sense to set a monthly limit as well. But as I said at the last meeting, I mean, I think we really need buy-in from a lot of communities around the city of Sterling Heights and the state of Michigan. But the reality is that these scammers are generally, it's not like this is somebody calling from, you know, somewhere next door saying, you know, oh, don't go to Sterling Heights, go to, you know, whatever other city, right? These are people from a world away that probably have no idea why the machine isn't working. So I'll be comfortable with honestly, with whatever the will of the council is here.
Me too.
Would you like to postpone the adoption then to first meeting in January, so that I can amend the ordinance to include whatever the decision is today?
Support.
Well, hold on.
He can't make the motion.
I know, I was kidding. I was kidding.
Okay, so, well, we need to have, we can postpone, right? But we need to have some sort of consensus. I mean,
Right.
I think the consensus so far is $3,000. Although a couple people have said even less.
Go 1,000.
Mrs. Zarko didn't really say a number, so
I'm comfortable with the majority is to, if we go, you know, the 3,000 is fine with me. If we do less, it's fine with me too. I do know we have to have a limit, and I don't want to quibble about the amount because I know that we're trying to reduce it. So, yeah, so whatever, I mean, I have to tell you, I've gotten a real education in the last 2 meetings on Bitcoin, and all I know is I want my stuff backed by gold. That's all I know.
Or not.
That's all I know. You can keep your Bitcoin.
So I think there's really 2 questions that need to be addressed, and we can go through the entire council again. Is what number do you want the daily limit to be? And do we want to put some sort of a monthly limit in place as well? And I think that's really
That's what
the
we are.
discussion. You seem concerned, Mr. Koszybski?
No, you can do that tonight by just telling me to amend it to do so, and I can add the language and
Tonight.
adopt it with an amendment, or you can postpone it with different.
Well, do you prefer if we postpone it so that you can present something that's cleaner and more developed? Or will you be able to do that based on
I think it's cleaner to postpone it and have it written so that the residents can see what it says.
Okay. So then but I still think we should go around and say what your number is, and then we'll need a motion to give you direction.
If I can get direction or emotions.
Okay.
Okay.
Mrs. Sarowski.
I am fine with 3 or 2. And if it looks like 2, I'm good with that.
Okay. Mrs. Schmidt?
I say split the baby, 2.
Okay. Mr. Radke?
I'm 3 or 2. I agree with them.
Okay.
2's fine.
Mr. Yanez?
Sure, 2.
Yeah, 2 works.
Okay.
Okay. Does the council want to adopt a monthly limit?
I don't think it's necessary.
I agree with her, just because if you already have 2, you know what your maximum is.
60.
That's 60,000.
60,000.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
And it's a lot of scams. I mean, I just think at some point you gotta,
Mr. Mayor?
geez, you gotta stop going. Please stop going.
You met casinos?
Right?
Mr. Yanez.
Yeah, sorry. Can I get I'm sorry, I just know.
Cassie.
Cassie.
What was your recommendation, the model legislation?
Is 1,000 daily and 10,000 monthly.
I would go 2 and 10.
2 and 10. I think it's more than enough.
Good.
Yep.
I'll go with that.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah, no
Thank you
kidding.
very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Radke.
I will vote for a 10,000 cap. I think it's a little bit restrictive. I would probably do 2 and 20 to be fair, but if the will of the council is 10, I will vote for that. I'm not going to quibble.
Because this is kiosk, not internet.
Correct. Yeah, I agree with you there.
Yeah, right.
Are you aware of other communities that have adopted your recommended?
What is your last name, by the way?
Thierfelder.
Spell it? Felder?
Yeah, it's Thierfelder. It's very long. I'm sorry.
Thierfelder, okay.
Thierfelder, yeah. So I don't have the information about specific communities. I don't think any here in Michigan, but I can share what's happened in other communities. There are a couple of communities in Minnesota, for example, that adopted a similar proposal as to what was adopted or proposed today without the daily and monthly maximum, and they have now moved towards more looking at prohibiting them because they found that there was a lot of loopholes to people accessing them, being sent back after they become a customer and then going back for more. So that is one of the, why we have this recommendation. But I'd be happy to follow up also with whoever's interested with more information about what other communities have done, or put you in contact with some of our other team members who really work on this as their main focus and have a lot more knowledge and information than me.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. And if there are any kiosk users out there that like use this for a regular basis and are thinking, oh, you can't do this to us, like we rely on these things, please reach out and tell us, because I can't, I mean, where I see it naturally going is just like, well, why do we have these at all? Why do we even have them at all? Okay, we're gonna make it we're gonna make it incredibly difficult to use for somebody who has actual legitimate, like, assuming there's somebody out there in Sterling Heights that's got millions of dollars and just wants to pump it into a kiosk day after day after day, month after month after month, and finds that $10,000 a monthly limit is just too restrictive for them.
Okay.
I can't imagine it. So maybe why even have them to begin with? Go ahead.
But don't you think the people that you're talking about are probably doing it online? They
Yeah, that's
aren't
what I'm
going
saying.
into the,
Yeah.
they're not going into the kiosk.
That's what I'm saying. I
Or to
can't
the kiosk.
imagine that there actually is that person who exists.
Yes, they're doing
Which
it somewhere
means
else.
These may just be a source of scamming.
We do have,
Can I ask Ms. Thierfelter, who wrote your model legislation that you're proposing?
so we have some national team members that focus on fraud, and so based on the data that they were getting, they drafted the model legislation. So I can-
AARP team members?
AARP.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
You should read their newsletters.
Yeah. Related to what you were talking about, we don't have data for every community, but there are a couple of communities who studied the transactions at the kiosks, and the attorneys general of Iowa and DC found that 93% of transactions conducted by the top 3 crypto kiosks providers in those communities were the results of fraud. So it does speak to, kind of that question that you're asking, but that doesn't, that is just those two communities that we only have data for those two.
Do you have any information regarding, so Mr. Kraszewski brought up that they are also a source to use your Bitcoin to convert it easily into cash, and that might not be a very simple thing outside of these kiosks. Do you have any information on how often these are used in that manner as opposed to buying Bitcoin? And if you don't, you don't.
I do not.
Okay, that's fair.
But I'm
That's a
happy
fair
to share
point.
this data that I have a couple of handouts if you are interested in that, but I don't have that data, but I can ask if anyone on our team does.
Certainly leave that with the clerk, and she'll copy it and send it to us if you don't have enough for the whole council. All right, I feel comfortable. I would go with whatever the council's recommendation is here.
2 and 10.
2 and 10, I can live with, and then if you're using it to withdraw cash, that's not going to be impacted by what we do. Is that correct, Mr. Kraszewski? Okay, Mrs. Zarko.
Okay, one more thing. Fairfelder?
Thierfelder.
Thierfelder, okay. Casey, we're going back to that.
Cassie. It's Cassie. That's okay. I'll answer to either.
But what I think is, I brought up education the last time that we talked about this. And I know that the city tries to do it, the prosecutors tries to do it, but I think coming from the AARP, sitting at our library or sitting at the senior center and having representatives there might be more impactful because of the lobbying work that you do for senior citizens. So if your group is interested, I think we should contact them about coming in for some kind of program. And it could be more than one session.
Yeah, I would be happy to talk about that more. We do have a lot of programs that are related to fraud and including crypto kiosk fraud, but all types of fraud and scams and how to prevent or protect from them. We have a lot of volunteers and team members, both who work on programming for this. We have a lot of local events already happening. You can visit our website and see some of those fraud trainings and other education materials as well. But we definitely would be happy to connect with you and work with you on a program.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, we have 2 and 10. Is there anybody else that would like to opine? Okay, so do I have any objection to postponing this item tonight so that Mr. Kraszewski can go back and rework the ordinance so that there is a $2,000 daily limit and a $10,000 monthly limit?
No objection.
Hearing none. Do we keep the 14 days of $1,000 then? Council?
Yes.
Okay. All right, you have clear direction. So I would now entertain a motion to postpone this item to the January 6th?
Yes.
Council meeting.
Yeah,
So moved?
Support.
Moved, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, let's
Let's do it.
I was gonna make like a verbal motion, but.
Oh, it's okay. We got it. We got it.
Yeah, we got it
Moved
there.
and supported. This is Mrs. Riska.
If I could have clarification as to who moved and who supported. 'cause
I moved.
I supported. It's a non-debatable motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Good discussion, everyone.
Yes.
Next up is the consent agenda with the omission of item J. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on any item? And thank you, ladies, that was very impactful. I
Yeah,
mean,
thanks for being here.
it's pretty much just, you wrote the law, so congratulations. I mean, kind of, mostly. We didn't go exactly to 1,000, but pretty darn close, so we appreciate that, and tell your bosses that you deserve some real recognition.
You deserve a raise. Some money, not Bitcoin.
All right, next up is the consent agenda with the omission of item J. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on any item on tonight's consent agenda? If not, council, we need a motion.
Move to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Support.
It's been moved and supported with no discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up on our agenda tonight is consideration item to consider appointments to City of Sterling Heights boards and commissions. We have 2 boards that are in need of appointments, the Historical Commission and the Housing Commission. I believe we're probably going to have to take these in three separate ones. Certainly, the historical and housing have to be separated. The Historical Commission is a open seat. It's a city council appointment to a term ending June 30th, 2027. Is there anyone who'd like to make an appointment?
Mayor Taylor.
Mrs. Sarowski.
Resolved to appoint Michael Binkowski to the Historical Commission to a term ending June 30th, 2027, subject to the appointee meeting the qualifications set forth in Charter subset 4.03 and taking the oath of office within 2 weeks.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Any discussion?
No.
Council? No discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the Housing Commission. These are two reappointment requests. These are city council appointments, but there are two different term ending dates. So we're going to have to take these separately. Is there somebody who'd like to make the first?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Radke.
resolve to appoint Pamela Terry to the Housing Commission to a term ending December 31st, 2029, subject to the appointee meeting the qualifications set forth in Charter subsection 4.03, taking the oath of office within 2 weeks.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Last one is the term ending December 31st, 2030. Is there a member who'd like to make that motion?
Mayor Taylor.
Mrs. Sarowski.
Resolved to appoint Sean Taylor to the Housing Commission to a term ending December 31st, 2027, subject to the appointee meeting the qualifications set forth in Charter subset 4.03 and taking the oath of office within 2 weeks.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported, but this is
Did
the
I-
wrong one. So we need the Housing Commission.
The sheet that we provided has a different date than the sheet in our packet.
Ah.
Dates do not match.
Oh, that's why I'm reading off my sheet,
I read off
sorry.
the sheet too, so I don't know what the proper dates are supposed to be.
So you appointed Pamela Terry to a term ending December 31st, 2029, and that's fine. The Housing Commission has to be the one on our packet. So I mean, really, all you need to do is instead of saying 2030, December 31st, 2027, it's December 31st, 2031.
Oh, all right. No,
2030.
I'm sorry, 2030, yeah, thank you.
Don't make up numbers, I can't.
So-
Okay, so to move to revise my motion.
Withdraw it and
Just
make it again.
withdraw, just say you
Withdraw, and I'm going to redo.
Okay, the motion on the floor has been withdrawn.
Mayor Taylor.
Mrs. Sarowski.
Resolved to appoint Sean Taylor to the Housing Commission to a term ending December 30, 2030, subject to the appointee meeting the qualifications set forth in Charter subset 4.03 and taking the oath of office within 2 weeks.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Sean's just going to have to give it up on December 30th.
2020-30.
No, but she said December 30th.
Oh.
So you
31st.
cut him out a day.
I'm so sorry, Sean. Or her.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sean.
So.
December 31st.
Sean,
Making me-
Ms. Riska, just let her stay one more day, okay? The motion is December 30th. Can we, or do we, by unanimous consent, we amend it to December 31st?
Absolutely.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. All right.
All right.
Next up is item J from the consent agenda, and this is to schedule a special meeting of the city council for a strategic planning session on Tuesday, January 27th, 2026 at 10 a.m. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on this item? If not, Mrs. Schmidt, do you want the floor? or-
Sure.
Mrs.
Sure.
Schmidt.
I'll take the floor. So I pulled this because originally this meeting was scheduled for noon. And because the agenda had grown, administration changed it to 10 a.m. Some of us had work commitments scheduled until that noon schedule time. So I'm hoping that the council would be open to changing that start time to noon instead of 10 a.m. So that is the reason why I pulled this. So we can discuss it, or I can make a motion.
Well, what, Ms. Schmidt, why don't you make the motion
Okay.
for noon instead of 10 a.m.?
Okay.
And we'll see where it goes.
Okay. Resolve to schedule a special meeting of the City Council for a strategic planning session at the Sterling Heights Community Center, 40250 Dodge Park Road, on Tuesday, January 27th, 2026, at 12 p.m., and direct the city clerk to post the appropriate notices in accordance with Michigan's Open Meetings Act.
Support.
Okay, you got like 6 supports.
Okay.
Right there. Call the question. Mrs. Schmidt.
Yeah, that was it. I had just work commitments until 11:30, so I would be here by noon, and because that was the original time that was given to us. So that was my reason for that.
Okay. Can I put Mr. Vanderpool on the spot before I go to another council member? So can you explain the reason why it was decided to try to bump this up? And if it starts at noon, hopefully we're not in a position where we need to cut things out of the discussion, but we might go longer into the afternoon or evening. Mr. Vanderpool, can you kind of give us some guidance here?
Thank you, Mayor. You're exactly right. When we set the noon schedule, after which there were a number of items added, so we just felt that to get it all in that day, we had to move it up. But it's not a problem to move it to noon, not a problem at all. It's really council's pleasure. We'll do whatever council decides. Worst case, we have to go a little longer in the evening, but I don't think that's a problem for anyone.
Okay. Mr. Radke.
Mr. Vanderpool, when do you think we'll be wrapping up that day, now that we're moving the meeting?
Well, I'm looking at the agenda right now, and with the revised starting at noon, we should be wrapping up right around 7 o'clock, 7 PM.
I need 2 meals that day.
Well, maybe that will expedite the ending. So if we don't have a dinner, but we do have a small lunch planned, and we have a number of breaks, and we'll have some snacks. We'll get through it.
Okay.
Okay. Council, any further discussion?
It's gonna snow that day, you know, it always does. Strategic planning. It snows.
That's okay. Council, anyone else? With no further discussion, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schmidt. That concludes that portion of our agenda tonight. We'll move on to communications from citizens. Is there anyone who'd like to speak on any item that was not on our agenda tonight? I'll take you in the back and in the scarf. Yes, sir.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Samuel Reyes. I'm a resident of Sterling Heights. It's my first time ever been to a city meeting. And excuse my English, as it's my 9th language, so it's not a perfect English. I have few issues that I have faced with the city police department. Been there a couple times, requested some records, and I was turned down by A, denial, B, overcharge. Today I witnessed 2 police officers get sworn in, and part of the swearing that they were required to obey the city standards, which was one of my requests to see, yet I was asked to be charged $530 just to see that. I was told it's on the police department website. I spoke to Captain Harper today. She couldn't even find it in their website. So that's my issue. Why should I pay $530 for something that should be posted on the website, yet even the captain cannot find it on the website? So that's one of the issues I want to raise here with you guys.
Okay, so I appreciate you being here. You mentioned it was your first meeting. During this portion of the meeting, we don't generally engage in a back and forth, a discussion. The best advice I can offer is if you would leave your phone number, your email address with the city clerk, our city manager will reach out to you, get the information find out from you what information you're requesting, figure out from the police department what the reason was for that fee that they quoted you, and update the city council so that we can stay in the loop and reach out to help you or just work on the problem from that angle.
I spoken to, I forgot his name. The gentleman sitting back there. Dale. I'm sorry, Dale. I'm an old man. I did speak to him yesterday, and he explained to me some of the stuff that it's a state law, which I understand. I'm not asking for the state law. I'm asking for the city ordinance, the standard, the officer trainings, stuff that I need to know as a citizen of Sterling Heights. So, yeah, I don't mind sharing those with you guys or with whoever want to
Yeah,
reach back.
write down your contact information there. Somebody from the city will reach out to you and then loop the city council in.
Okay, fair enough.
So that we understand what's going on, okay?
And one more thing, talking about the crypto thing, I work in a business where we follow state and federal laws. There's something called, and the city attorney might correct me on that, there is something what's called MTL, multiple transaction log, that casinos and banks have to follow. And there is CTR, which is the courtesy transaction report, that is a federal law that companies and casinos and banks have to follow. Why don't do the same thing for the city? When it comes to those crypto platforms, they have to follow if there is a big transaction come through from the city. That way might raise an alert to the city residents, especially the older one, to know that, hey, there's a possible fraud going on here. Just bring it up.
Understood. Thank you
All right,
very much,
thanks.
sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, I'll take you next, sir.
My name's Nicholas Romano. I've been a citizen, or a resident of Sterling Heights since 1987. Brought my family in. We bought a corner house, which is behind, well, in the subdivision behind here. And I'm a little, I think you need to look at your C-Click Fix program that you have. Because when I moved in Sterling Heights, not only did I bring my family, but I brought my E350 van, and I've parked it in my driveway, never on the street, on the driveway, for the past, 1987. And I went on vacation in October of this year. I came back. I had a courtesy ticket saying that I can't have that van in my driveway. And I came home on a Sunday night from Florida, and by Tuesday, which I didn't have a chance to do anything, I ended up with a ticket from the Sterling Heights Police, which they're just doing their job because they have to respond to a C-Click Fix. And I think that in our area, our neighborhood, or the 2-3 blocks where I live, there is somebody who should belong in a condo association instead of a city, because they are getting a little overzealous on what they're doing. And I'm a little well, the problem is I was an on-call, because I'm close to retirement. I told the guys that I can't work 40 hours anymore. I'd like to work part-time. He says, well, we'll put you on call. So when we call you, you get in your truck, go do the service call. Well, I can't park the truck there anymore. So basically, I've lost my part-time job because of this overzealous C-Click Fix person. So that's what I wanted. I think you need to look at that program. You need to look at the people who are, see if there's an overzealous C-Click Fix person in the neighborhood, because if you go around the city, because this is a blue-collar area, there are a lot more people that have vans that are on the street, work vans. There are a lot of people in the city who have trailers on the streets. If you go down Utica Road, you've got a guy who's had a trailer that's 20 foot long that has an advertisement on the side of it in the front of his house that hasn't moved in 5 years. And here, I've been going to work. Someone calls and complains about an E350 van being in the driveway because I'm a corner lot. And now I'm out of job. That's all I have to say.
All right, so Nick, if you don't mind, I think we've emailed back and forth, and I'm certain I can get your number fairly easily.
On other things.
Yeah, and other things. If you don't mind, I think an E350 van is, if it doesn't have, even if it has it's heating and cooling, I assume.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I assume you're pretty darn busy right now.
And there are other vehicles in the city that have the same type of van in their driveway.
Right, so why don't you give us some information so that we can look into it a little bit more? Because I'm not so sure it's a see-click fix issue as much as it might be something we need to adjust in our ordinance.
On the thing, it says C-click.
Yeah, but I'm saying that somebody's complaining about it on see-click
Yes.
fix.
It's a reporting
and
feature.
The city goes out to
They
investigate.
have to, because
Right.
it's part of the, and
So
I
let's-
don't argue that.
Yeah, so let's see if we can give you some relief here.
Because on Thursday, I have to go to court.
Okay. Leave your contact information, and let's have somebody from the city contact you tomorrow, okay? All right. Thank you, sir, and good luck, because, as I said, I would imagine there's a lot of furnaces out and people that are in need of heating and cooling right now. Okay, Mr. Graff, would you like to be next?
Good evening. Mark Graff, Sterling Heights. Can I have the overhead?
Yeah.
Does somebody need to turn that on? Just first, a few positive comments. The PPP tree planting program, I know has started. Ryan Fox gives us regular updates. He's been, taking command of that whole thing, and we're continuously impressed at how fast they're planting trees. It just seems like every week he planted how many? And he's had some pushback from, some very curious situations, but overall, it seems to be going very well. And as I understand, okay, we're gonna plant 15 to there's 15,000 trees in the PPP, and there's another 3,000 we're getting via grant. And if you remember, when the tree proposal first came up a couple of years ago, strategic planning, this was proposed, it was proposed how much it was gonna cost, $9 million. And to your credit, Mayor Taylor, you kind of probed a little bit at what that means, what does that get us, right? And at the time, they said, well, 15,000 trees might gain us 1% additional canopy. So, and right now, we're, 21 to 23%. And repeatedly, the city states that our goal is, really the gold standard is 40%. So if we're only gonna gain 1% over the next 10, 15 years that these trees are planted, we should be thinking about, and that's gonna cost us $9 million. If we really want 40%, that's a heck of a lot more money and a heck of a lot more land space. So just something to keep in mind. And as you saw in the citizens' survey, stormwater management is pretty high up on improvements or resident concerns for the city. Trees help greatly with stormwater management. So with that, I wanted to talk a little bit about the CCF update. I know Mr. Bonner gave a presentation, and I know you're coming up with a January 1st checkpoint per the purchase agreement, where you basically evaluate where things stand, and basically either party can continue forward or go which way. I don't know what that process looks like when it comes forward to council, but if there has to be a motion in January after that January 1st date passes. But I think there's been some misleading statements, or even going back to the presentations that led to the decisions on the development. And I just wanted to make sure you had the full picture, when you're considering this January 1st date, whether you go forward or not go forward, or maybe there's some additional investigation. So one of the common things is that the front 2 acres is mostly void of trees and grass, and there is a lot of grass there. That's where some of the big trees are. That's where this famous sterling oak is. But where that 2 acres where the building sits is not the development impact, okay? You heard Mr. Bonner talk about all the cut and fill operations. And, let's see if I can, that's. So this is right off the CCF zone layouts.
All right, Mr. Graff, I'm gonna need you to wrap up in the next 10 or 15 seconds.
Anyway, there's 14 landmark trees that are being cut up here. We're not preserving 8 acres. We're clear cutting 6 acres. The back 4 acres are protected by the state, so no matter who buys the property, that 4 acres cannot be touched because it's floodway.
All right, thank you, sir.
And we have wetlands also. So, thank you.
Anyone else under communications from citizens? Ms. Graff.
Hey, everybody, it's been a while. It's good to see all of you. Thank you for everything you do. I just wanted to do a real quick check. The petition for the Sterling Oak, which again, Mark was trying to make the impact that it's not one tree, it's all of these trees that are over 200 years old, most of them. 3,578 people have signed the petition. 60% of those are from this area. So that's your constituents kind of telling you what we're kind of hoping that you'll do. So I'm going to leave that with you if anything happens in January. I'm kind of hoping that you remember those numbers of about 2,400 people within your area of the Sterling Heights that are against the development of that property. Other than that, I wanted to let you know that we did collect acorns in the fall. We did take them out to the nursery. Hopefully that made that back to you through everybody, so I'm going to give it a thumbs up that it did. And doesn't disavow the importance of those big trees. So with that, I wanted to just say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all of you, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you very much, Ms. Graff. Anyone else under communications? If not, I'll close that portion and go on to reports from city administration. Mr. Vanderpool, anything tonight?
Nothing further, Mayor, thank you.
Mr. Koszybski?
No closed session time, Mayor.
Council, any reports or new business? Mrs. Sarowski?
I'll start. Well, just wanted to, this is our last meeting until Christmas, so we want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, however you celebrate. I hope you enjoy it with your family. And it's a poignant one because we lost my mother-in-law this past month from my family, so it just points out, hug everybody, reach out to family members. If you have any you haven't spoken to in a while, for whatever reason, reach out to them and just let them know that you still care about them. And that's all I have to say. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Sarowski. Council, anyone else? Mr. Radke?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to echo Mayor Pro Tem Sarowski. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We're not going to see you until the new year, so I hope you have a joyous new year. This is the time of year where we all have to look out for the folks that maybe aren't doing as well. You know, I see a lot of people who haven't shoveled their snow are being reported on See-Click Fix. If you can reach out to your neighbors, if you can shovel your neighbor's snow, that makes it easier for the rest of us in the, pardon me.
Oh, sorry.
What was I thinking? Oh, please reach out to your neighbors. If you can shovel even one neighbor's snow to help out, I know I help out my neighbor, that would make the world of difference for your neighbor. It'll make our communities more walkable and safer, especially around bus stops, schools, and safety routes. So if you could do that, I'd personally appreciate it. I can't wait for 2026. As Mrs. Ziarko always says, our strategic planning is the best meeting of the year, and we have so much on the agenda for the next 4 years here in Sterling Heights to make our city even better. I was so happy to see the survey come back strong. I'm going to obviously review it when Mr. Vanderpool gives it to us, but there's always more things that we can improve on. We have the best city in the state, and we're making it even better every day. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Radke. Council, anyone else?
Mayor Taylor?
Mrs. Schmidt?
Thank you. I want to start by thanking the DPW. We had a snow event, and they did an amazing job of clearing our roads. And I hear over and over from people that I work with or just people out in the community that they can always tell the Sterling Heights roads because they're always clear. And I truly appreciate all that they did, the long hours, and I do know there's a few students that are hoping that Friday will be an ice day. But, on behalf of my family, I want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a very safe and healthy New Year. I think we have a lot of things to look forward to next year, and working together, I think we can get a lot done. So, on a parting note, I have to thank my colleagues, because I have had the opportunity over the last couple of weeks to witness some other council meetings in other communities. And I have to thank all of you for our professionalism. And, we may not always agree, but we can do it civilly. We can disagree civilly. And I really appreciate the relationships that we do have. And so thank all of you. And that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you very much, Mrs. Schmidt, and we appreciate that, at least I do. Council, anyone else? Mrs. Zarko.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. I'm going to talk about, well, Nick, thank you for reminding everybody, Mr. Radke, that my favorite meeting of the year is strategic planning, and I'm so glad we're going to go into 7 o'clock, because we'll just talk about whatever we need to. But it is, and I think it's an opportunity. I think it's what's presented is an opportunity, and in some cases, we've prepared ourselves for those opportunities so we can move forward with those, those suggestions. So usually we don't have anybody from the residents that come in and they have a chance to speak too as to what we're talking about. So I welcome all of you to come to that meeting. So think about it. And even if it snows, because it usually does. But the other thing is, next year is the 250th anniversary of the country. And I know that I've been talking to other communities, leaders, and there are already plans about what they're going to do to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the country in the city. So I wondered if we were planning on celebrating, and if so, if we have a committee that's internal, that's already working on it, that we just don't know about it, and if we could add that to the strategic planning too, why not? And the reason why I talk about it is because I happened to be in a grocery store, and I was talking to one of our residents, and she is a member of a quilting group that meets either at the community center or the senior center once a month. And what they want to do is they want to make 13 quilts from now until next Veterans Day, and they want to distribute those quilts to a veteran each month, or as they finish them, to honor them in the 250th anniversary of the country. So I think we should, look into that project, at least contact somebody that's in that group, and there might be other people that either can help them, have fabric, maybe they do the quilting after everything's pieced together. So it could be more of a community project and not just for this group. So I think we need to talk to them about it. And the other thing that's been coming up, and I know that we don't have the acreage for it, but the data centers, and we hear about them in other communities, and I keep thinking, well, the least amount is like 300 acres now, and I think there's only one parcel that comes close to that. But this is one of those problems that is coming up in other communities, but it's not just, it would be our problem too, not just their problem. It's not just in their backyard. It's something that we need to be paying attention to. And I think we need to get some information on that and find out how we can help the other communities that are having a problem with this, or they're setting their regulations for it or turning it down. But that's something else that I, would really like to see us do some research on. The other thing is, yes, however you celebrate this season, it's happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a healthy and safe New Year for all of us as we, look forward to meeting family, friends, and certainly a lot of food. So I want to wish everybody a prosperous New Year. And Mrs. Schmidt brought up other council meetings. And I know that, believe it or not, they want to use us as an example as to how we conduct business. So it's been brought up. I think that just by viewing some of our meetings, we wouldn't actually have to take a road show or anything like that, but they could view our meetings and find out how professional they are. And I'm sure that some people do already. But anyway, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you next year.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Zarko. Council, anyone else? Mr. Yanes?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, or whatever holiday you celebrate. Make sure that you're safe. It was already brought up earlier. Keep an eye out on your neighbors, please. I mean, the weather's really freaky. It's freezing cold, then it's going to rain, then it's going to freeze. You know, we have a lot of seniors that live in the community, and so keep an eye out and make sure that all your neighbors are enjoying a safe and healthy New Year as well. And just one little ask. Not everybody is done with their Christmas shopping, and as we get closer to December 25th, it takes longer and longer and longer to get deliveries to your home, so please consider shopping local and investing your money in a local business. There's nothing more important than the local economy, and we have to make sure that we support our local economy. So please, if you're not done with your Christmas shopping, take a look at all the shops and stores and restaurants that we have around here in Sterling Heights, and please consider shopping with them. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Yanes. Great advice. Anybody else? Been once, twice. Well, good, thank you. I agree. I mean, I think that the council, I enjoy serving with this council. I enjoy that we keep our disagreements professional, and I think today was a good example of what we can do when we work together and work collaboratively. So I'm very proud to be a part of this council and looking forward to a new year coming up very soon. So everybody have a very Merry Christmas, a Happy Holidays, a Happy New Year, and we'll see you back here in 2026. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Support.
Been moved and supported. No discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.